It all starts with footage from some crappy game called Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok, or Demrock for short. It was a title that took the top spot globally the moment it launched, ushering in a new era for VR gaming. Demrock dominated the global market, thriving and winning Game of the Year awards. This was a legendary game that once boasted over 100 million concurrent players. However, its dominance gradually began to cool off. Demrock's rankings slowly slipped over time, and now, the servers are about to shut down for good. A group of players sits together around a campfire. Right now, a few lines of system notification from the game appear before them. Greetings. This is Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. The game will officially cease operations in 30 minutes. Do Hyun, otherwise known as Kaiser, the #1 player in Demrock, reads those lines with a completely expressionless face. Beside him, Boris Sekmat mutters with a hint of boredom. This damn game, I've been praying for it to crash every day, and now it's actually shutting down. Boris Sekmat, rank 5 in Demrock. The Sword Emperor also frowns, replying with a sense of reluctant acceptance. I feel the same way. Aside from being a sensory game, it was actually pretty fun. I don't get why it's folding. Sword Emperor, rank 4 in Demrock. As soon as he finishes, Kudak adds, it'd be weirder if it didn't shut down when dragon raids only drop literal bricks. Kudak, rank 3 in Demrock. The moment he says that, the Sword Emperor asks back in annoyance, do you always have to kill the mood like that? Kudak avoids his gaze while teasingly replying, am I wrong though? The Sword Emperor scowls and continues grumbling. I thought only that mask of yours was tacky. Turns out your way of talking is just as obnoxious. Kudak hits his limit. He bristles, challenging him, what? You want to go? Solo? This attitude makes the Sword Emperor sigh in exasperation. Typical. All you know how to do is fight. Do Hyun's voice rings out from a distance, putting a stop to the bickering between the two. But it is followed by a bitter smile of his own. I actually find it a bit of a shame. Hearing that, Boris Sekmat lets out a laugh in agreement. Makes sense. You were the one who grinded this game the hardest. It's only right that you'd miss it. He follows it up with an exclamation of his own. Every time I watch you fight, I thought you were playing like someone was chasing you. Kudak shrugs and adds in a friendly tone, but God is truly fair, isn't he? You're the unluckiest one out of all of us. Boris Sekmat wears a smirk as he replies, to be the top player on the server without a single legendary skill. If he had just a bit more luck, we probably wouldn't even be at the same table, right? Old stories are recalled through Kudak's narration. The time your enhancement failed 10 times in a row and you screamed, this world is screwing me over, people really should have seen that. It was hilarious. Boris Sekmat concludes with a final remark. Thinking about it, he's actually the baddest boss of them all. The story makes the whole group burst into laughter. This time, the Sword Emperor joins in the fun. Unluckiest guy out of everyone I've ever met. After they finish chatting, the final notification from Demrock appears. Greetings, this is Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. As scheduled, the game will officially close its servers today. Thank you for staying with us until the very last moment. Their game characters begin to vanish. Boris Sekmat smiles and says a final goodbye. Great work, everyone. The Sword Emperor looks away, assessing the situation. Now it's really over. Meanwhile, Kudak smiles even brighter, leaving them with a promise. See you in another, better game. From start to finish, Do Hyun remains standing in place, watching his friends depart. The campfire continues to burn, growing even stronger. He says nothing as he is the last one to vanish, the game's light fading away along with him. The VR headset is placed on the table like a final period. Demrock servers are officially closed. And just like that, 2 years have passed. A new day begins in this modern city. Buses are zooming down the main road. On a bus, right now, a soldier is dozing off next to 2 young men when an exclamation breaks the silence. Man, those controls are insane, aren't they? Young-jun remarks while looking at his phone screen. Check this out, soloing a Demon King all by himself. He chuckles, his eyes never leaving the phone screen. As expected, the strongest one in the execution organization Slaughter Squad is still the best. This time, Jimin, sitting beside him, adds with sparkling eyes, organization or not, I like the Empress more. Her aura and the way she acts alone is just like a lone wolf. He looks at the phone of the guy next to him and adds, I guess no one can beat those two now, huh? Young-jun asks back lazily, isn't there still one person left? Jimin can't help but wonder who. His attitude changes completely when mentioning his idol, the strongest one from the Demrock era, the rank 1. Jimin lets out an "oh" as he remembers, "Ah, that's right, there was Kaiser too." But after the game closed, he vanished too. I wonder what he's up to these days. Right then, Do Hyun, sitting nearby, just lets out a smirk. It's been 2 years since Demrock shut down its servers. Speaking of how times change, the hottest game right now is Demrock's successor called God of Savior, or GOES for short. Just like its predecessor, in this game, the number of players is growing rapidly. Regarding the game's content, it has been heavily improved. Many new races and classes have been introduced. It is a world of infinite freedom. The smile on Do Hyun's face turns more mischievous as he thinks to himself, wait for it. GOES, a ranker has returned. Kong Do Hyun, former rank 1 of Demrock, Kaiser, has just been discharged from the military with the rank of Army Sergeant. The place he's headed is a high-rise apartment building. As soon as he gets home, Do Hyun asks urgently, "The capsule? Where's the capsule?" His younger sister, seeing his arrival, can only exclaim, "What the? You're back." She and their mother watch Do Hyun flash by like a gust of wind, adding, "You just got back and you're looking for the capsule already?" His mother's half-joking complaint echoes after him. "When he was little, it was always Mom, he only knew how to look for me. Now that he's grown, children don't need anyone anymore." However, Do Hyun doesn't hear any of it. He is too busy observing the object laid out in front of him. In the middle of the room stands a gaming pod. This is the one. I've only seen it on live streams until now. A VR capsule. I saved up every little bit during my 1.5 years in the military, and I finally own one. His hand slides over the gaming pod as he keeps marveling internally, this feeling, these curves. Do Hyun doesn't waste a second and quickly opens it up. Once he's settled inside, he looks around and remarks, "Even though it's used, the cushioning is actually pretty decent." Without wasting another moment, Do Hyun grabs the helmet and eagerly declares, "All right then, let's try logging in." The connection goes extremely smoothly. The game's notification voice rings out. Scanning iris. Verifying ID card. Very quickly, Do Hyun is finished. ID card verified. Sync complete. The game icon appears, followed by a notification. God of Savior. Welcome to the paradise of adventure. He appears in a lobby filled with light, where lines of instructions pop up one after another. Please create a character. Do Hyun stares blankly at his own reflection in a mirror. Is this my character? He reaches up to scratch his head, thinking to himself, he looks way too much like a soldier. However, when he sees various hairstyles popping up randomly in front of him, Do Hyun feels annoyed. Why is there so much stuff? What a pain. Let's just pick whatever and be done with it. The system continues to request, please set a nickname. He carefully considers this. A nickname. The corners of Do Hyun's lips curl up as the familiar name is entered. Kaiser. The character setup process completes with a notification. Character created. Welcome, Kaiser. The character setup process completes with a notification. Character created. Welcome, Kaiser. Your hashtag is hashtag Kaiser312. 543. Transferring to the tutorial area. He is greeted by a scene of devastation, with fires burning everywhere. Fires burning in every direction. This is the bloody battlefield of Arland City from the past. The moment he appears here, Do Hyun is stunned and thinks, is this really a virtual reality game? Notification windows keep appearing. Please select a weapon. He reads them while pondering to himself. A weapon. As his eyes scan the familiar items, Do Hyun continues to comment. These are all pretty ordinary. Finally, he chooses based on his instinct. I'll go with what I'm used to. Holding the weapon in his hand, Do Hyun thinks with satisfaction. I've only used swords since the Demrock days. Unexpectedly, just as he finishes picking his weapon, a voice calls out from behind. Hey, you there. The figure of a man comes running toward him in a panic, followed by a question from him. What are you doing here? Knight Captain Charlie grabs Do Hyun's hand, pulling him along and urging, hurry, we have to go now. There is nothing but terror on his face. The other mercenaries have already joined the fray. As soon as he moves with Charlie, another notification appears. You have formed a party with Knight Captain Charlie. The two of them run quickly past the city walls, then enter the castle together. The sight before Do Hyun's eyes now is a field of corpses. Charlie looks around with a disgusted face and mutters curses. So they finally colluded with the monsters? If the rumors are true, he has signed a contract with that beast. His tone becomes serious as he adds, if we don't stop it now, That thing will descend. Then Charlie starts leading Do Hyun along with him. Hurry, this way is the shortcut. He says nothing, only following cautiously behind. Surprisingly, the moment they step through the door, they are greeted by an arrow flying from a distance. Charlie steps halt immediately. He looks forward in annoyance. On this side, a swarm of monsters appears. Very quickly, Charlie makes a declaration. They've swarmed all the way here? I'll handle this bunch to clear a path for you. However, without letting him finish his sentence, Do Hyun directly grips his sword and charges forward. One of the monsters in the pack roars in fury. His gaze doesn't waver, focusing entirely on the battle ahead. Seeing the monster swinging its weapon, Charlie warns loudly, "Watch out." Meanwhile, Do Hyun simply pivots on his heel, and the monster's attack misses its mark. He is so shocked that its eyes go wide. Now was Do Hyun's turn to draw his sword and strike back. He unleashed a slash that was smooth as silk. The expression on Do Hyun's face didn't shift even a single bit. Capitalizing on the momentum, he instantly lunged forward. The pack of monsters couldn't help but feel bewildered seeing their comrade taken down in a flash. A few others, fierce and reckless, charged at him regardless of the danger. They attacked, but once again they failed. Do Hyun braced his leg, preparing to counter. His knee smashed directly into its jaw. The monster let out a groan of pure agony. Seeing their companion neutralized, the remaining monsters couldn't help but feel a chill run down their spines. They were so terrified their faces turned pale. However, Do Hyun wasn't about to give anyone a chance to recover. He lunged forward with power and delivered the finishing blow. Only now did Do Hyun's pace finally slow down. The last of the monsters had finally breathed their last. He flicked his sword to shake off the blood lingering on the blade. Following that, Do Hyun flashed a satisfied smile and thought to himself, "I was a bit worried since I haven't fought in a while, but I guess I'm not half bad." He hopped around a few times to get a feel for his body. "Actually, it feels like my body is even lighter than before." At this moment, Charlie exclaimed, "Good heavens, I can't believe it. You took down 5 monsters all by yourself." A series of notifications appeared as his expression shifted. "Knight, Captain Charlie is marveling at your strength. Charlie's affinity has increased. Simply incredible." Do Hyun himself was a bit confused by the term affinity. A series of notifications appeared as his expression shifted. "Knight, Captain Charlie is marveling at your strength. Charlie's affinity has increased. Simply incredible." Do Hyun himself was a bit confused by the term affinity. On the other side, Charlie was having his own thoughts. An unknown mercenary with this kind of power. Perhaps this young man is the hero who only appears in the history books. Notification windows popped up one after another. "Knight Captain Charlie is deeply moved by your battle. Charlie's affinity has increased significantly. Charlie's affinity has reached the maximum level. He now trusts you completely. Even if you do something wrong, as long as you say you were framed, he will believe you." Following that was a quest summary. Acquired a new title upon entering the game. One who maxed out affinity. Just started the game and already reached max affinity. Rare grade. A title description for those who reach max affinity with an NPC during the tutorial. Effect: affinity with NPCs increases faster and all stats +2. Upon reading this, Do Hyun remarked with interest, "That's actually pretty sweet." The man approached him and spoke. "Thanks to you, everything became much easier." He then pointed toward the door in front of them and continued to explain, "Now, we just need to take out the dark magician inside, and we can end this battle with a victory." Unexpectedly, before they could move, the surrounding space shifted. Oh no, had they already started the summoning? Thunder and lightning appeared. Seeing that the situation was dire, Charlie immediately gave orders. "I'll handle things here. You get in there and stop the summoner." His body began to glow as he continued. "If it's you, I can leave this to you with peace of mind." A parting wish was given to Do Hyun. May the blessings of Saint Arland fall upon this hero. Immediately after, Charlie charged forward without another word, leaving Do Hyun behind. Do Hyun was momentarily stunned. "I have to go inside." He recalled the videos posted previously and wondered to himself, "But I'm pretty sure in the tutorial videos, Charlie was the one who went in first." However, an explanation quickly occurred to him. "I heard the storyline changes depending on the player's actions, but it changed this much?" Do Hyun paused before the door as an eerie aura surged intensely from within. A notification appeared. "Only one person may enter. If you die, the seal will be broken and all of the boss's debuffs will be removed. Do you wish to enter?" Reading this, he exclaimed once again, they even show notifications like this in the tutorial? However, Do-hyun once again realized that this was a hidden piece. To explain a hidden piece, it's a concealed mechanic within the game. It's only triggered or obtained under special conditions, and sometimes yields extremely rare rewards. The system asked for his decision again. Do you really want to enter? At this moment, a devilish grin appeared on Do-hyun's face. Then there's no reason to dodge it. As soon as the choice was made, the gates swung open, and Do-hyun was welcomed by screams and the sight of someone being devoured. How can this be? I summoned you, so you must obey my orders. The corner of the demon dragon's mouth was stained with crimson blood. Do-hyun's eyes widened in shock. Fresh drops of blood dripped from its body. Standing before him now was the bound, iron-blooded demon dragon. Title: Legendary grade, named Boss. Danger level: Unknown. Type: Dragon Clan. Trait: Currently sealed. Description: A demon dragon from the abyss titled Iron-Blooded, currently held by chains. Its entire power is sealed, so its physical movements are severely restricted. Do-hyun's mouth hung open as if he couldn't believe what was in front of him. A legendary gray boss. Speaking of God of Savior, the Lord of Salvation, this game copied a lot from Pinwretch. What copied was Deus Ex Machina Ragnarok. One of those things was the hierarchy system. This hierarchy system included ranks like epic and legendary. The special thing was that this ranking rule also applied to boss monsters. However, the most special among them were the unique monsters granted specific names. And right now, the iron-blooded demon dragon was in chains. It was a named boss. The demon dragon raised its head to observe Do-hyun. Then, it suddenly let out a roar. The power of this roar was aimed directly at him. Notification windows popped up one after another. You have just heard the roar of the imprisoned, iron-blooded demon dragon. Your physical abilities have dropped due to the roar of such an overwhelming entity. Movement speed decreased by 20%. Attack speed decreased by 20%. Defense stats decreased by 30%. And magic resistance decreased by 25%. Do-hyun grimaced in annoyance, wondering to himself, "Are you kidding me? Is this some kind of sick joke?" He observed the demon dragon's body and wondered. Its stats were supposed to be sealed. But would that really make a difference? Do-hyun's gaze fell on its feet. If he got swiped by those giant claws, it would definitely be an instant death. However, he also tried to remind himself, "I'm used to this kind of chaos." Stuff like this happened all the time back in Demrock. Combat memories from his old game resurfaced. And every single time, he only ever made one decision. The aura surrounding Do-hyun shifted. It was do or die. He suddenly opened his eyes as he sensed something was wrong. Out of nowhere, the demon dragon launched an attack, forcing Do-hyun to leap back in evasion. His feet skidded along the ground before coming to a halt. Do-hyun took advantage of the momentum and slashed a line across its leg. Do-hyun took advantage of the momentum and slashed a line across its leg. As the demon dragon's shadow loomed over him, Do-hyun spun around and quickly retreated out of its attack range. However, after the counterattack, Do-hyun himself was pushed back. His eyebrows furrowed. Do-hyun observed the demon dragon's health bar and assessed 120 HP out of 999, 880, only 120 HP lost after 2 hits. But then he just let out a long, self-deprecating sigh. It's exactly like what they said on the forums. This difficulty level is straight up trash. They were all claiming that anyone thinking they could beat a named boss was crazy. It's impossible. They weren't designed to be defeated by players. Do-hyun diligently attacked while remembering those comments. Don't even bring up the iron-blooded demon dragon or whatever. It seriously gives me the creeps. It's terrifying as hell. Besides him, there were still people wondering, wait, is there really no way to kill it? I see someone dealing damage to it. No way, it's hopeless. Even Annihilator couldn't take it down, let alone. Do-hyun continuously swung his sword to deal damage despite the random chatter. I think the programmers just set it to take damage for a bit of realism. Wow, did you actually think about attacking it? I just stood there frozen until I died. His efforts quickly brought about a new wave of discussion. Channel Center? What the hell? Its name just changed, right? The Fading of Wisdom. What's going on? Oh my god, wait. Did it really change? Do their names usually change automatically like that? A barrage of comments appeared. A game bug? No way. It's run by an AI many times smarter than Alpha. Then what's the reason? Don't tell me someone actually killed it. Huh. For real? How the hell does a level 1 player kill a leader? Are you saying someone just destroyed the boss that even Annihilator lost to? Who was it? The sword in Du Hyun's hand stabbed down into the demon dragon's foot once more, hard enough to draw blood. The demon dragon let out a tragic roar, its massive body falling powerlessly to the ground. Following that was the appearance of several notification windows. You have defeated the chained, iron-blooded demon dragon. You're the first person to defeat a boss in the tutorial. You have soloed a legendary grade named Boss. This achievement will be recorded in history. Your reward is... Du Hyun was busy panting heavily after this exhausting battle. Unbelievable, he irritably remarked to himself. That really was a nightmare of a monster. Du Hyun muttered as he pulled the sword out of its body. The first one. Huh? Deep down, Du Hyun was reminiscing about his old friends. Those damn developers. Is this thing really meant to be beatable? What piece of trash game? Forget it, screw this. A smile curled the corners of his lips as he wondered. I wonder how they're all doing now. Several notification windows popped up, catching Du Hyun's attention. You have just acquired the title, First Dragon Slayer. Talents will be formed based on your play style and achievements. Following that were a series of newly unlocked skills. The talent Weapon Master has appeared. The talent Hidden Dragon has appeared. The talent Conqueror has appeared. The talent Hero has been revealed. The talent Overcomer has appeared. All necessary conditions have been met. The unique grade talent Eyes of Truth has been revealed. Reading this, Du Hyun couldn't help but feel puzzled. What is all this? Why did I get so many talents? He waved his hand in front of the notification window, as if to double-check, while thinking. Usually, you can only get one single talent in the tutorial. Speaking of traits, this is one of the unique systems in God of Savior. They range from exploration-type supports like Guide to combat-specialized ones like Swordmaster. The higher your achievements, the greater the grade of the talent you receive. At this point, Du Hyun couldn't hold back an exclamation. This is insane. An increase to all stats, the Swordmaster effect for every weapon type, spatial tracking, and even immunity to debuffs. His eyes gleamed as he continued to look further down. There was even... Du Hyun focused on one single line, another unique grade talent. Talent. Eyes of Truth, unique grade. Effect. See through everything that is hidden. The more he read, the more excited he became. Weapon Master, Hero, Conqueror. They were all incredible talents, but they weren't unique. Du Hyun muttered to himself with conviction. Even if no one else owns all of them at once, there are bound to be plenty of players holding at least one of them. Then he redirected his focus to one thing. But what about Eyes of Truth? It's unique grade, meaning it's the only one of its kind in the entire world. After weighing his thoughts, a grin spread across Du Hyun's face. I just hit the jackpot. One unique talent and 5 regular ones. His personal info window appeared. Title, First Dragon Slayer. Grade, Legendary. Description, deals additional damage to boss monsters. Sub-effect, +5 to all stats when consuming a named monster. Works on bosses, stackable. All stats +10. Added to that was this overpowered title. It felt like Du Hyun was bathing in honey. Man, this is amazing, so sweet. I never thought someone with my rotten luck could get an opportunity like this. However, his train of thought was interrupted by a noise from outside. Over here, Charlie also turned his head toward the door as if he couldn't believe his eyes. He stammered an exclamation, then slowly took a few steps forward. On this side, Du Hyun was still looking dazed. As he stepped inside, he spoke up. I'm certain I heard the roar of a beast. Did you truly slay that creature? He looked at Charlie and nodded in acknowledgement. Oh, well, I guess so. Charlie looked at him in awe and remarked. And yet here you stand without a single scratch. Just who exactly are you, master? Du Hyun started to explain casually. Well, but the man quickly raised a hand to stop him. No, who you are or where you come from doesn't matter anymore. With the respect of a knight, Charlie placed a hand over his heart and declared. True heroes always appear in times of chaos. I'm certain that your presence will become a beacon of light, bringing great change to this chaotic world. And I, Charlie, believe that with all my heart. Charlie even knelt on the ground. Oh, great hero, I beg of you, would you grant this humble knight the honor of becoming your sword? A notification from the system appeared, explaining the current situation. Charlie, Knight Commander of the castle, wishes to swear his loyalty to you. If you accept, Charlie will renounce his title as commander and become Kaiser subordinate. The master will enjoy all corresponding benefits from him. Du Hyun's eyes widened, and he thought to himself, "You gotta be kidding me," followed by the system's explanation. "However, since he passed away long ago, you will not receive any benefits even if you become his master." Once he read those lines, his confusion eased up a bit. Right, this tutorial is just a reenactment of the past. Du Hyun gave a slight nod while replying. "So this is just a formal event? Fine, I accept." Charlie's face lit up at those words, accompanied by the appearance of a few more notifications. "You have accepted Charlie's oath. You will forever be the master in the memories of Knight Commander Charlie. The battle recorded in history as the tragedy of Arlen Castle will now be remembered as a final victory in Charlie's mind. He shall rest in peace and look forward to a better future." Du Hyun silently observed the scene before him. "Rest in peace, huh?" A light suddenly appeared along with a prompt. "You will soon be transported to the Pantheon." That blue glow formed a portal. At this moment, Charlie spoke up again from behind. "My master." The question he asked was filled with anticipation. "Where is our next destination?" Du Hyun turned his head back while thinking. "Our next destination?" He broke into a smile and explained, "This is a harsh world. After all." Du Hyun's face grew more serious as he declared, "So we'll go wherever we need to go." Charlie's eyes lit up hearing those words. "Anywhere we need to go." The blue light enveloped the two of them. The system continued its announcement. "Preparing for teleportation. You'll be transported to the Pantheon in 5 seconds." Suddenly, Charlie thrust an item into Du Hyun's hand. "Master, please take this." Du Hyun looked at it, puzzled. "What's this?" The system countdown was still ringing out. "You have received an item." A satisfied smile played on Charlie's lips. "Thank you. Master, please save." Teleporting to the Pantheon. The scenery before Du Hyun's eyes shifted rapidly, and information appeared accordingly. "Welcome to the Pantheon. This is the place to choose a god and decide the path you will walk. We pray that you receive the protection of the gods." Du Hyun looked around with a flat expression. So this was the famous Pantheon from the rumors. Speaking of which, instead of its noble name Pantheon, people usually knew this place as a hub, or more like a gacha pull center. A unique feature of God of Savior that had made countless players laugh and cry. This was the location where the divine gacha began. You're only allowed to serve one single god, and your profession depends entirely on the god you choose. Furthermore, since everything in God of Savior is strictly ranked, the gods also have their own separate tiers. Myth tier, hero tier, and legend tier. As for the myth tier gods, they were originally entities that became gods through legends whispered by mortals since ancient times. Hero tier gods were humans who were celebrated as heroes in the past, and then ascended to the Pantheon to join the ranks of the divine. The final tier is legend tier gods, those who wrote a legend themselves. For instance, Zeus from Greco-Roman mythology or Odin from Norse mythology belong to this group. Naturally, the further down the tiers go, the higher the quality. At this moment, more system notifications appeared. Each card hides a different god within. Please select the god you wish to serve as an apostle. Seeing a massive number of them, Du Hyun couldn't help but remark, "Wow, there really are a lot of choices here." He decided to just close his eyes and pick one at random. His luck was trash anyway, so there was no point in being too greedy. Unexpectedly, in the middle of that pile of cards, there was a point of light that stood out. Why was that card over there emitting a brilliant golden glow? Along with that, a skill activated. The skill Eyes of Truth has been activated. Du Hyun's eyes widened, muttering the words he just read to see through what was hidden, followed by an exclamation. This ability is truly beyond imagination. He looked at the glowing card in front of him and began calculating the possibilities. If this was for real, then from now on, every time he opened a card pack, he'd have a guaranteed win in his hands. Memories of playing with his other teammates kept coming back. How is your luck so pathetically miserable? Everything else is fine, but when it comes to luck, remembering it, Du Hyun couldn't help but feel a bit hurt. Before, he'd just laugh it off, but did they have any idea how bitter he actually felt inside? His gaze locked onto the glowing card before him. But now, with this in his hands, returning to the ranks of the top players was entirely feasible. However, even though he was so excited his chest was swelling, Du Hyun had to remind himself, gotta stay calm. His hand slowly reached forward instinctively. He wasn't going to aim for anything other than the golden cards. He finally grabbed that card. Its information quickly appeared. You have drawn the legend tier god. One-handed sword god. Do you wish to choose this god? A smug smile curled on Du Hyun's lips. A legend tier god. With this start, however, immediately after, notification windows with a red background appeared. The aptitude to become an apostle has not yet been formed. You cannot become an apostle of this god. Please perform the card draw again. Du Hyun's mood instantly plummeted. What the hell is going on? I can't be an apostle. The system notified that the god realm was extremely confused by this unexpected situation. He carefully calculated. The vessel to contain the power hasn't been created yet. Du Hyun had to admit. I've never heard of or seen a case as weird as this before. Finally, a flash of insight struck him. Wait a second. A power vessel. Du Hyun recalled the events of the past. Normally, after a player is defeated by the demon dragon, a goddess would appear to deliver an oracle. His train of thought continued. However, since I defeated that dragon, the goddess never showed up. If that's the case, is all this trouble because I haven't received the goddess's enlightenment? Then Du Hyun opened his own status window. Player, Kaiser. Level 1. Max affinity achieved from the start. Title, First Dragon Slayer. Strength, 5 plus 18. Agility, 5 plus 18. Stamina, 5 plus 18. Perception, 5 plus 18. It wasn't there. He quickly noticed the difference. Right in the profession section, where it should have said apostle, it only displayed 2 words, adventurer. A difficult problem had presented itself. Damn it. So what am I supposed to do now? And then Du Hyun looked up again. If this kept up, those cards would be worthless. They just keep telling me I don't have the aptitude anyway. All that previous excitement vanished like bubbles. Do you have any idea how long I've been waiting for this moment? Du Hyun held his head in frustration, trying to remind himself. What should I do now? If I delete this character to make a new one, I'll have to wait a long 60 days. However, right after that, he noticed something else. Du Hyun's vision was glued to a red card lying haphazardly on the ground. Red. His hand touched it while he thought to himself, I've never even heard of a red grade card before. Information about this card immediately appeared. You have drawn a hidden card. You have chosen Haciar, the last forgotten adventurer. You possess the aptitude of an adventurer. You have officially become Haciar's apostle. Du Hyun's eyes gleamed at the red hue of the card. I knew it. This is definitely a hidden piece. A series of system notifications continued to appear as a red light slowly enveloped his body. You have advanced to the class, the last adventurer. You have acquired the skills for this class. Profession, the last adventurer. Description, early humanity were all originally adventurers. They were once the masters of Avtartal, stronger than anyone, possessing powers that threatened the gods until they faded away in vain. Since that fateful day, humanity has been defeated, and I am the last adventurer remaining. Long strings of information windows appeared one after another. Innate ability, adventurer. Adventurers are those who always crave freedom. They're the masters and friends of Avtartal. They carry within them explosive potential. Effect, you can learn and use all skills without being limited by your profession. Reading this, Du Hyun could only exclaim, this is absolutely insane. He thought to himself with satisfaction, I'm no longer bound by a class. I can cast every single skill and find a way to develop this. Because of this, I can build my own move set, selecting only the most useful skills to use. A roadmap was quickly laid out by Du Hyun. Furthermore, combined with these eyes of truth, I'll definitely be able to get exactly the moves I want. What would happen if I paired this with a weapon master talent? He even fantasized about the future. I'll truly become an all-rounder then. I won't have a single weakness left. The system continued to provide information. The class change process is complete. You will be teleported to the region of Avtartal shortly. Throughout the process, Du Hyun kept reminding himself, as long as I have this start. The system countdown rang out. 3. Du Hyun's lips curled into a proud smile. It's worth giving it another shot. Right now, the light was gradually covering his entire body. 2. To climb to the position of a high-ranking player. The region of Avtartal, Arda, the city of beginnings, was filled with light and bustling activity. Everyone there had their own goals. Oh man, my gotcha pull this time was a total disaster. Just try to be a bit more patient. There's still plenty to do in GOS, even if you're not a combat class. 2 figures were walking together on the street just now. One of them remarked dejectedly, doesn't look like we'll find anyone promising today. Talent scouts. Speaking of talent scouts, they're officers responsible for recruiting new members for guilds. But in reality, in the eyes of players, they are no different from annoying cult recruiters asking, "Do you have a moment to talk about our Lord and Savior?" The gray-haired young man continued irritably. "I need to fill my quota a bit this month, or that damn manager will start throwing a fit again." At this moment, the black-haired man looked in a different direction and spoke up. "Hey, look at that guy over there." They observed Du Hyun, followed by an assessment. "He looks like a pathetic mess, doesn't he? It looks like his spirit has completely broken." In the end, the two of them decided to ignore him. "Let's go. There's no point in trying to recruit some broke brat like that." The truth was, Du Hyun was reading the lines of information appearing before him. Necklace of blood and covenant. A piece of jewelry bearing an oath created from the blood of Charlie. Only the descendants of the Arlen Knight commander may possess it. Hero-grade equipment. Level requirement: none. Restriction: Charlie's master only. Special option: defense and magic resistance will increase every time a certain amount of experience is accumulated. Will unlock at level 35. His jaw dropped, and he thought to himself, "Incredible, this is hero-grade gear." Even the attribute lines are extraordinary. Once again, Du Hyun experienced the feeling of being bathed in honey. This feels so sweet. It's truly wonderful. However, a notification appeared and cut through his excitement. Notice: Goblin Sweep Quest. Du Hyun muttered as he read. A Goblin Extermination Quest? Not just him, but many others received the same notification. Goblin Sweep. Rank: Common. Description: a request from Dante, a veteran hunter in the Arda region. Defeat goblins, 0 of 40. Reward: 80 silver and a certain amount of experience points. Risk: Dante's affinity may decrease. Time limit: 24 hours. Each of them had a different reaction. It's a hunting quest. Awesome, hit the jackpot. I don't even have to bother standing in line and waiting. From a distance, Dante stood on a high platform, waving his hand excitedly. I'm counting on you all then. Hunter Dante here. Please clear out those stupid goblins for me. As soon as they received the quest, those present immediately began forming parties, looking for teammates to party up. Anyone want to do the monster extermination quest together? Looking for a party, need tank, DPS, and support to grind straight to level 12. Du Hyun looked around and carefully assessed the situation. It seemed like everyone was joining parties to get to work. A group of 3 people approached him from behind with a proposal. Sorry to bother you. Our group is planning to speedrun to level 12. Do you want to come along? Their faces wore friendly smiles. Let's play together to get the party bonus experience. Let's go hunt them down together. Du Hyun considered this offer very seriously. Forming a party? That made quite a bit of sense. He understood well that not only does hunting become much easier with teammates, but if you factor in the bonus experience, group hunting was practically a requirement. Du Hyun didn't waste any time and quickly agreed with them. Sounds good. Let's party up. Party successfully established. Party: Shield level 1, Mahanchity level 1, Yubingong level 1, Kaiser level 1. When he saw Du Hyun's name, Shield quickly made a comment. Are you a fan of Kaiser too? Mian followed up curiously. Is this Kaiser guy? Yubingong, sitting nearby, kindly explained, he's someone who used to be number 1 back in the Demrock days. Her eyes lit up once she understood. Oh, I see. You must be a huge fan of Kaiser then. He nodded in agreement. Exactly. You even named yourself Kaiser. From start to finish, Du Hyun only gave a forced smile and didn't say a word. Their morale soared. Well then, shall we head out? Let's hit level 12 as fast as we can. Let's move out. He reluctantly followed along. Combat broke out very quickly. Shield inflicted a debuff on a blue goblin. The blue goblin has been stunned for 1 second. He successfully launched an attack and turned back to signal. I just landed a bash. Everyone, focus your fire on it. Yubingong shouted while firing arrows. Mian understood and immediately joined the attack. The two of them dealt damage and quickly took down the goblin. You have successfully defeated a blue goblin. The rest of them, seeing their comrade fall, were half bewildered and half furious. They decided to charge in recklessly. However, Shield once again successfully acted as the team's tank. Yubingong's voice rang out. Block it. Mian followed up. Brother, use your shield. Shield used his strength to block the blue goblins and shouted, finish it off quickly. However, the other 2 members hesitated. Wait a second, my skills are still on cooldown. At this moment, the silhouette of another blue goblin appeared from behind. Shield gasped at the sight. Its face wore a smug grin, certain that this sneak attack would succeed. However, there was movement on the ground. Du Hyun lunged forward. He took down the blue goblin with a single slash. You have just defeated a blue goblin. Shield was visibly stunned. Yubingong and Mian wore the same expression. Du Hyun landed lightly after taking down that blue goblin. However, just a second later, he charged again. Du Hyun then blurred through the goblins, trailing several lines of notifications. You have just defeated a blue goblin. You have just defeated a blue goblin. The party members, seeing this slaughter, were visibly thrilled. Amazing, great job. Kaiser is definitely the best. After everything was handled, Du Hyun sheathed his sword. Shield appeared from behind with a smile. Great work, everyone. Well done, guys. You're actually really skilled. He even started daydreaming. If we keep this up, we'll soon reach. But before he could finish his sentence, Shield hurriedly warned, Kaiser, behind you. A pack of blue goblins appeared from the edge of the forest. They all wore fierce expressions. Seeing the disadvantage in numbers, Shield suggested a retreat. We can't face this many. Let's run for now. However, Du Hyun once again lunged forward. The blue goblins on this side charged in gleefully. He jumped high, preparing to engage them in close combat. In Du Hyun's eyes now was pure killing intent for them. The forest, which had been peaceful just a second ago, was immediately stirred by the loud sounds of attacks. The scene flashed back to the past. Borisek Matt voiced his confusion. Why do you always jump into such risky battles? Are you hot-headed, or do you have some kind of problem? An impulsive person will taste defeat sooner or later. To this question, Du Hyun simply replied flatly, Risky? What are you talking about? He began to explain. Hey, when your health is at a critical level and a boss-class monster suddenly appears, isn't charging straight at it just way too crazy? However, he was cut off by another question from Du Hyun. But the result was that I took it down, didn't I? Borisek Matt fell silent for a moment before agreeing. Well, that's undeniable. You're not wrong, but that was still extremely dangerous. Back to the present, a pack of blue goblins was in front of Du Hyun. How reckless. He looked at them and silently agreed. Maybe so. There's no reason to do this. Risking your life, pointlessly, just to fight, is unnecessary. At this moment, Shield hurriedly turned his head with the intention of retreating. We're not strong enough to handle them. I'm backing out now. However, Du Hyun had already lunged forward. Kaiser, he was thinking to himself, but I have never fought blindly. The blue goblins gleefully charged toward him, and the two sides quickly clashed. Du Hyun's eyes now gleamed with a red hue. I fight simply because I am certain I will win. The forest, which had been peaceful, was stirred just a second later. You have cast the skill, Crushing Blow. Du Hyun continuously attacked the pack of blue goblins. Notifications from the system appeared incessantly. A critical hit has been landed. You have successfully defeated a blue goblin. Through item distribution, Kaiser has received a blue goblin skin. In the middle of the fight, he glanced back. Only one poisonous blue goblin remained. Du Hyun's feet changed direction, and then he aimed his attack at them. I believe I can do it. A series of smooth, clean slashes were continuously unleashed. The poisonous blue goblin once again prepared for a sneak attack. Du Hyun was slashing its comrades when a projectile flew toward him. The skill, Fluid Momentum, has been activated. The talent, Overcomer, has been activated. Du Hyun's vision was enhanced, and he easily deflected the projectile. The green goblin witnessed this and was so shocked his jaw practically hit the floor. Du Hyun charged straight at it for an attack. Then his feet performed a long slide across the ground. This was because another green goblin was eagerly rushing forward right in front of him. It gnashed its teeth and swung its club at Du Hyun. His eyes glowed with a red light, and with a single strike, Du Hyun easily took down the green goblin. Several system notification lines appeared. Thanks to the Weapon Master talent, all equipment restrictions have been removed. Under the influence of the Adventurer effect, you can use the basic dagger skill, Vital Point Stab. A satisfied smirk played on his lips. Check this out. His hand, supporting his stance, shifted fluidly as he drew a dagger. Next, Du Hyun plunged the dagger into the green goblin. You have performed the skill, Vital Point Stab. You have struck the enemy's weakness. A critical hit has been registered. No sooner had he taken that one down than he had to face another. Their weapons clashed against each other. Du Hyun successfully knocked the club out of this green goblin's hand. The Weapon Master trait helps remove constraints when using equipment. The Adventurer talent allows you to use the basic mace skill, swing. In the blink of an eye, he appeared right in front of it. A look of pure terror flashed across the green goblin's face. That was also the moment it had to embrace death. Du Hyun drove the knife into it, while simultaneously seizing its weapon. He then used that very same club to finish the goblin off. You have used the skill, swing. Several system notifications popped up one after another. Your weapon proficiency level has increased. Your weapon handling skill has now reached level 2. Your dagger handling has improved. Your dagger proficiency is now level 2. Your swordsmanship has improved. Your sword proficiency level has now reached level 3. This is looking pretty solid. Looking at the battlefield he had created, Du Hyun couldn't help but marvel. I thought I just learned skills without being restricted, but I didn't expect to be able to use them instantly like this. His face lit up with intense excitement. This really exceeds my expectations. Behind him, Shield was still watching. He couldn't believe what was unfolding. What the hell is going on? This makes no sense. The truth was well known. Even a seasoned party would struggle to hunt a pack of goblins like that. Shield continued to observe Du Hyun, but he cleared them all out by himself. The man's name caught his eye. Kaiser. Shield wondered to himself in confusion. I seriously can't believe it. Is this really the same Kaiser from Demrock? But he immediately rushed to deny it. No, that's definitely impossible, because everyone knew he was a genius pro who had disappeared from the scene for 2 years. What the hell would Kaiser be doing here now? Ever since Demrock shut down, no one had heard a word about him. And now he just happens to show up in my group today? It just doesn't add up. Shield felt more and more baffled. So who the hell is this guy? Meanwhile, Du Hyun was busy enjoying his victory. Wow, this is amazing. So great. His somewhat twisted expression left Shield feeling uneasy. He seemed a little crazy. A blue light suddenly appeared. Du Hyun watched as the green goblins slowly vanished and quickly realized. Looks like everything disappears except for the weapon drops. He didn't mind much. After all, he had removed his weapon limits and could even use skills, so he figured this was enough for now. Next, Du Hyun requested to open his status window. His information appeared almost instantly. Player, Kaiser level, 4 HP, 300/350 mana, 200/250 stamina, 230/240th job. The Last Adventurer, Apostle of Haciar title. First Dragon Slayer. Maximum affinity from the start. Strength, 5+18 agility, 5+20 constitution, 5+19 perception, 5+18 magic, 5+18 remaining points, 0. I jumped 3 levels after just one hunt. Du Hyun leisurely reviewed the info. Even though I'm not limited by weapon types, my foundation is still swordsmanship. I'll put 9 points into strength, 8 into agility, and the rest into perception. He calculated his next moves. The other stats are temporarily boosted by my titles and Charlie's necklace anyway. An exclamation from behind caught his attention. Oh my god, Kaiser! That performance just now was absolutely insane. The party members were all full of admiration. I'm officially your biggest fan now. Kaiser, you're seriously the best. Shield couldn't help but ask. With strength at this level, are you really that legendary Kaiser? Yubingong, standing nearby, quickly chimed in. Come on, that guy hasn't been active in forever. How could he just suddenly pop back up like this? However, he stuck to his guns. But after seeing him fight with my own eyes, it's the only explanation that makes sense. The other partially agreed. He really does have the aura of the Real Kaiser. They kept showering Du Hyun with praise. That was seriously cool. If you said you were the Real Kaiser, I'd totally believe you. He just laughed it off but secretly thought, man, but I actually am Kaiser. Then a question was raised. By the way, Kaiser, did you just get power from some legendary god? The amount of damage you're dealing is terrifying. Du Hyun gave another humble reply. It's all thanks to my talents, plus I was lucky enough to get a title. The more they heard, the more they admired him. You even have a title? Aren't you about to become a ranker? I better get on your good side right now. The party chatted for a while longer. Then Shield suggested, all right, looks like my health is back up. Shall we get back to hunting? Yubingong's enthusiasm spiked. Why don't we just take down 10 more while we're at it? Seeing them so excited, Du Hyun had to agree. Good idea. Yubingong declared loudly. Let's roll, shield bearers. We've got Big Brother Kaiser on our side now. Mian also agreed excitedly. Let's head out. Only Do Hyun's gaze shifted. It was because the voices of the past involuntarily echoed. Hurry it up. Previously, Kudak and Borisekmat had been noisily discussing. But first, we need to gather what's necessary. Kaiser will handle everything anyway. He's a pro. The Sword Emperor was annoyed by this attitude. Hey, we're ranked players too, you know? Kudak snapped back. A ranker like you is acting all proud? The Sword Emperor got even angrier. What? Who do you think you're talking to? Previously, Kudak and Borisekmat had been noisily discussing. But first, we need to gather what's necessary. Kaiser will handle everything anyway. He's a pro. The Sword Emperor was annoyed by this attitude. Hey, we're ranked players too, you know? Kudak snapped back. A ranker like you is acting all proud? The Sword Emperor got even angrier. What? Who do you think you're talking to? Unexpectedly, another info panel appeared before him. Emergency quest. Blood of the Mutant Goblin. Rarity, rare. Description. This quest is commissioned by Kaz, an alchemist who has lived for centuries. Recently, he has been quietly monitoring the mutant goblins and seems to have discovered something. Collect fresh blood from the mutant goblin warrior residing in the caves of Arda Forest. Kill mutant goblin warrior. 0/1. Blood of mutant goblin warrior. 0/1. Completion rewards. 1 gold, a certain amount of experience, and a silver ring crafted by Kalda himself. Failure penalty. Kaz's affinity may decrease. Time limit. None. Do Hyun's expression changed. A mutant goblin warrior. Do Hyun's party soon arrived in front of a massive cave. Yubingong was the first to speak. I'm getting nervous. Mian agreed with him. Me too. Hearing this, Do Hyun reflected. It was perfectly understandable to feel uneasy right now. He recalled what happened before the group arrived. Thanks to hunting extra monsters on the way here, we learned that this dungeon is nicknamed the Newbie Destroyer. This party consisted of Top Shield level 9, Headshot level 9, Yubingong level 9, Kaiser level 9. The comment section on the forum was buzzing. How the hell do you kill that mutant goblin warrior? I just failed my 3rd try. Do they actually have a shot at winning? It's totally possible to beat it if you follow the guide carefully. No way, I followed it and it's insanely hard. One tiny mistake and the whole team wipes. Then what's even the point of playing? Reading this, Do Hyun could confirm that this was a dungeon where players were almost guaranteed to be wiped out on their first entry. They entered with determination, treating it as a taste of a real raid. At the tomb of Arda, among all the names people gave it, not a single one sounded hopeful. They entered with determination, treating it as a taste of a real raid. At the tomb of Arda, among all the names people gave it, not a single one sounded hopeful. Furthermore, this hidden dungeon itself had unique mechanics that required extremely tight teamwork when combining those two factors. Another party was storming out in frustration just as Do Hyun's group was heading in. No wonder this place is known as the Newbie Grinder. Comments echoed one after another. Seriously, man. Do we even have a chance of beating this thing? They should have designed it for solo play. I just want to punch my teammates in the face every time they mess up. Mian listened and muttered. It sounds like it's going to be really rough. Top Shield followed up with a determined look. It's tough, but we have to push through. If we can't clear this place, we won't stand a chance in any upcoming raids. Do Hyun hadn't taken his eyes off his teammates. He was right. He remembered the foreign discussions. Even companies when faced with a choice, even businesses if they had to choose. Notice, please follow the forum rules. Guild Plus recruiting requires killing Goblin Warrior, hero rank or higher. Guild Umbrella recruiting needs Goblin Warrior clear. Gable recruiting must defeat Goblin Warrior. Some other members wondered, do we absolutely have to kill that Goblin Warrior? If you don't, you won't be able to join any guild or party. Can I just lie and say I beat it? No. They're asking why you can't just make up a story about it. Various topics related to this Goblin Warrior kept popping up. Don't you know everything is recorded in the adventure book? This is so annoying. I'm quitting the game. Your IQ is probably on par with that goblin's. Those cheap tricks don't work in God of Savior. And then there was the mention of an item, the adventure book. Inside that adventure book, everything from quests and materials to land exploration and even boss kills was recorded. You could say that every single activity a player performs in the world of God of Savior is saved in the adventure book. However, time passes, and later on, when there's a long list of defeated bosses, it might be different. But if you want to join a boss raid party in the next city, players have no choice but to grit their teeth and overcome this challenge. Do-hyun thought to himself as he walked inside. Additionally, the boss in the next city was a mandatory kill. Unlike Arda, after walking a bit further, he stopped. In front of them now was a massive gate with clear information displayed. Habitat of the Mutant Goblin Warrior. Rank Rare. Type Party Dungeon. Features Single Boss. Description: the home of a warrior who was once a legendary and brave green goblin until he was cursed and exiled by his tribe. Limits for players. Level requirement: under level 10. Do-hyun then turned back and announced, "Shall we head in then?" The other members, though still anxious, agreed. "Yeah, I'm ready." Mian even added, "I've studied the strategy guide over 10 times. I'll do my best not to make any mistakes." However, as soon as they said those words, the atmosphere suddenly fell silent. The four of them just stared at each other until Top Shield remembered his role. He stepped forward, placed a hand on the door, and declared, "All right, I'm going in now." A system notification quickly appeared. Party leader Top Shield is requesting to enter the habitat of the Mutant Goblin Warrior. "Do you agree?" This time Yubingong shouted, "Let's go." Mian also stepped forward with similar resolve. Do-hyun looked genuinely amused. "Agreed." System information continued to appear. Checking the number of participants. Confirming level. Entering portal. Once confirmed, the gates swung open for them, entering the Mutant Goblin Warrior's territory. The excitement on Do-hyun's face became more apparent. "It's been a while since I've seen some real action. Let's warm up a bit." The group stood at the entrance, taking in their surroundings before slowly making their way forward. The torches along the walls flickered to life simultaneously, and their target quickly came into view. Mutant Goblin Warrior HP 20000/20000 title. Elite boss type. Goblin traits. Mutant warrior with extreme physical enhancement. Once the greatest of its tribe, a curse transformed its skin and stripped away its sanity. It was exiled following a mindless massacre. This goblin warrior wore a twisted, mocking grin on its face. It let out a menacing roar that made the very ceiling tremble. Seeing this, Top Shield remarked, "So this is an elite boss." Mian couldn't help but feel a surge of anxiety. This is bad, until Do-hyun's voice rang out. "It's charging." The goblin warrior lunged at them. At the same time, Top Shield made an observation. No matter how talented Kaiser is, he can't protect all three of us at once. Next, Top Shield glanced at the other two members of the party. At the very least, he finally made a decision. He needed to step up and perform well himself. The goblin warrior continued to exert its terrifying presence. Top Shield barked out an order to the team. "Everyone, scatter." They quickly moved in different directions. Top Shield moved while cautiously watching for the first mechanic. Charge. Just as the thought crossed his mind, the goblin warrior hurtled forward. Its head slammed into the stone. A system notification popped up. The mutant goblin warrior is stunned for 2 seconds. Yubingong and Mian seized the opportunity to unleash their magic. Both of their attacks landed squarely on the mark. However, the goblin warrior didn't even flinch. Top Shield's eyes widened at the sight. He searched for an opening, gritting his teeth as he saw the giant sword in its hand. The goblin warrior swung downward. Top Shield struggled to hold his ground. He even triggered a skill. Passive skill. Protector has been activated. A system notification appeared. Defense, HP, and stamina stats will increase when teammates stand behind you. Top Shield signaled to the back. I got its attention. A blue light flashed as Do-hyun launched his attack. The goblin warrior shrieked in pain after taking the hit full on. An explosion was triggered almost instantly. This prompted Top Shield to remark excitedly, "Nice. Things are going smoothly. At this rate, we can clear this phase safe." From behind, Yubingong shouted a warning. The next mechanic is about to trigger. But Top Shield still didn't quite get what he was talking about, because everyone knew that, theoretically, that mechanic only triggered when its health dropped to 10,000. Yet the Goblin Warrior's HP currently sat at 20,000/9,982. Top Shield looked on blankly as the monster prepared to launch its attack. However, Do-hyun acted just in time. He closed the distance and struck in a blink of an eye. The Goblin Warrior roared in agony as it was heavily wounded, leaving even Top Shield equally stunned. Du Hyun didn't stop there. A cocky smirk played across his face, followed by a declaration, "Mechanic handled." The two of them sat down on a stone bench. The reporter said, "Mr. Kaiser, your team has conquered the toughest dungeons currently available. You are celebrated as a member of the strongest party to ever exist. Could you reveal the secret to this success?" Du Hyun replied with a bright smile. "Our secret? I guess everyone just plays to their maximum potential." Every word he spoke was scribbled down in her small notebook. The reporter engaged him actively. Usually, a standard team structure consists of 4 key roles: tank, DPS, healer, and support. However, I noticed your party is missing a tank. Is it even feasible to go on a raid without one? Touching on this subject, Du Hyun gave it some thought. A tank, huh? They certainly play a very important role. Du Hyun had considered looking for one, but the role was so massive that no one had stepped up. They have to face the boss directly, block attacks, and soak up all the damage. It's a vital responsibility. That's why I just took over that role myself. This unexpected answer left the reporter jaw-dropped. Wait, what? Du Hyun just chuckled to himself, glancing at her. In a recent battle, their team had to deal with a ferocious, long-nosed oak. Even Top Shield couldn't believe it. How is this possible? Du Hyun himself had charged in alone and taken it down. Even real tankers would have a hard time blocking its hits with crowd control skills. Yet he managed to break its attack patterns. And he did it without using any CC skills at all. He held only a small sword. Yet every slash was a critical hit. On top of that, he was technically in the DPS position. Despite having a massive sword, the ogre couldn't do a thing to Du Hyun. It let out a frustrated, savage howl. He didn't show a hint of fear, instead charging forward with even more intensity. Attacks like these didn't mean a thing to him. With just one slash, he neutralized its limbs. The whole team was both thrilled and shocked. Yubingong praised Du Hyun incessantly. "Oh man, look at how he only targets the weak points. This is insane, absolutely terrifying." He just parried its attack again. Suddenly, Top Shield gasped as he saw the ogre's health bar plummet after just a few of Du Hyun's slashes. The boss's health was down to 20%. Seeing the time was right, he ordered the team forward. Phase 2 is about to start. Everyone get ready for the next offensive. Yubingong gripped his crossbow, and Mian readied her staff. Roger that. At that moment, the system announced that the mutant Goblin Warrior's HP had fallen below 20%. The mutant Goblin Warrior's traits began to manifest. The creature's muscles bulged with veins. It had transformed to become even stronger. They were ready for the final showdown. The system announced, "The trait Warrior has been activated." The creature let out a feral scream that shook the entire area. The system kept feeding information. All of its stats skyrocketed, and it entered a state of berserk. Its mutation trait also began to take effect. Du Hyun took a ready stance, prepared to tear it to shreds. Bring it on. Inside the creature, the mutation trait, a form of extraordinary power, was taking hold. It grants a unique skill to each boss. The power granted to the mutant Goblin Warrior this time was a specific rule. It was also known as the 007 game. The system continued its analysis. If physical damage is dealt 4 consecutive times or more, the entire party will receive a debuff. If magic damage is dealt 3 consecutive times or more, all attacks will be reflected back at the players. As it let out wave after wave of roars, a strange heat radiated from within it, causing them to be blown back slightly. Due to the berserk state from the warrior trait, the attack and movement speed of all players decreased by 4%. Yubingong spoke up. "Dealing with this thing normally was hard enough, but now we got a weakness debuff on top of it." But only Du Hyun remained unaffected. The hero trait blocked the mental corruption. The berserk effect has been neutralized. You are completely immune to the effects of the mutation. When he realized his inner energy was manifesting as a killing intent, he knew those debuffs wouldn't work on him at all. Top Shield saw how worried the others were and reassured them. "Hey, everyone stay calm and don't accidentally attack it. Focus everything on dodging at all costs." Yubingong cooperated perfectly. "We got it." Remembering something, Du Hyun turned to ask about the situation. "Do you have any thoughts on this, Kaiser?" But Du Hyun was eerily calm. He told them to just wait there for a moment. This stance immediately confused Top Shield. "What did you just say?" Suddenly, a bloody spark appeared in Du Hyun's eyes, and his entire body radiated a murderous aura. He gave a cold smirk and said, "I'll head up there and take care of it." This move left Top Shield unable to believe his eyes. In an instant, Du Hyun had dashed right up to the creature's feet, thinking it could squash him with one swing. It wore a triumphant grin. However, it was mistaken. Using only the tiny sword in his hand, he blocked its monstrous blade. Du Hyun's eyes blazed. In less than a second, he landed countless slashes all over the creature's body. It let out a pathetic scream. Du Hyun's eyes blazed. In less than a second, he landed countless slashes all over the creature's body. It let out a pathetic scream. Everything happened too fast. Top Shield couldn't fathom Du Hyun's extraordinary ability. What the hell is happening? Wasn't he previously just considered a god of DPS? He looked up, his mouth hanging open. Right now, he looked like a true god of war. No matter how many times the creature swung, it couldn't stop Du Hyun's onslaught. Du Hyun's appearance at this moment was nothing short of a god of war. He slashed at one side of its neck, making it moan in low agony, before striking again from behind. In Top Shield's eyes, Du Hyun looked like a player using cheats. ID, Kaiser, you have successfully leveled up. Your swordsmanship mastery level has increased. Your swordsmanship has reached level 7. Due to the level 7 swordsmanship effect, sword damage increases by 7%. The creature charged like a madman. It was beyond furious, slashing repeatedly at Du Hyun. The creature was being beaten so badly, it couldn't even defend itself. Thanks to the Wrath effect, you deal an extra 10% damage to boss entities. Du Hyun lunged forward for one final strike. Before it could even track his movement, he had circled to its back and slashed down. The creature let out a bone-chilling scream as blood sprayed everywhere. Then it collapsed to the ground and died. The system immediately announced, "You have successfully defeated the mutant Goblin Warrior. This dungeon has been officially conquered." Yubingong's eyes widened. "I can't believe it." Mian was also in total shock. Top Shield broke into a sweat and said, "I'm talking about Kaiser." Yubingong didn't follow and asked, "What about him? Is there a problem?" Well, he still hadn't fully recovered, his mind racing with questions. Could he actually be the real Kaiser? This statement caught both of them off guard. Wait, what? Everyone began to meticulously observe Du Hyun's every move. Du Hyun stood on the back of the dead goblin, radiating an air of total victory. The system window appeared. The system has calculated the completion time. Completion time, 29 minutes, 58 seconds. Current rankings. First, C Team, 29 minutes, 58 seconds. Second, Anonymous Team, 35 minutes, 11 seconds. Third, Masa Gray Team, 42 minutes, 12 seconds. Rank B, Other Teams, 44 minutes, 7 seconds. He rested his sword on the ground as the system continued its analysis. You have reclaimed the top spot on the time trial rankings. Additional rewards will be distributed based on contribution levels. Esta Kaiser 2. Shield 3. Mian B. Yubingong. Immediately after, items began to materialize. The gift for the highest contributor has been sent. You have received equipment. Mutant Goblin Warrior's red leather armor. You have received equipment. Mutant Goblin Warrior's red gloves. You have received a weapon. Mutant Goblin Warrior's great blood sword. You have earned the title, Throne of the Time Race. Throne of the Time Race description, a noble title for the one at the top of the speed race. Effect, every time a new record is set, all stats will permanently increase corresponding to that achievement. Haste, the time race is a constant chase between predator and prey. The holder of the throne must always move faster. Increases all speed by 10%. Current record bonus, +5 to all attributes. Du Hyun smirked with satisfaction. Just as I expected, these goblins. His chuckling expression was both terrifying and captivating. They're only beautiful when they're chopped into little pieces. Yubingong couldn't help but exclaim, "Good lord, isn't that a hero rank title?" Mian's eyes also sparkled. These bonus attribute lines are incredibly rare. She thanked him profusely. "Thanks a ton, big brother. Without you, we wouldn't have even dreamed of rewards this amazing." She added, "Thank you so much, Kaiser." Du Hyun gave a kind smile and said, "Don't mention it." Suddenly, someone called out, "Kaiser." Top Shield looked at him, lowering his head slightly as he asked, "Could you actually take a look at the names just registered on the rankings?" The system displayed the rankings. Current ranking first. C's Team, 29 minutes, 58 seconds second. Anonymous Team, 35 minutes, 11 seconds third. Massacre's Team, 42 minutes, 12 seconds fourth. Other Teams, 44 minutes, 7 seconds 10th. Slayer's Team, 46 minutes 35 seconds. Top Shield told Do Hyun with a look of remorse. I really should have changed the team name beforehand. He stammered, bowing his head. I'm truly sorry. Do Hyun scratched behind his ear, laughing it off. To himself, he thought, actually, having your name in the number 1 spot is a massive privilege. A vision of a fluttering red flag appeared in his mind. They might even get invited by top 10 guilds thanks to the sensational achievements they just pulled off. Looking at Top Shield's face, Do Hyun felt that even if this was just a starter city dungeon, holding the top spot was still a major milestone. He remembered that back with those glowing gold eyes, and more importantly, standing in a position even higher than Massacre. Top Shield apologized to Do Hyun once more. I'm so sorry for accidentally causing you trouble. He offered, whether it's compensation in gold or anything else, just name it, and I'll do my best to pay you back. The corners of Do Hyun's mouth curled into a slight smile, his voice calm. It's fine. Top Shield was stunned to hear this. Do Hyun explained, it was just an accident. The system automatically uses the leader's name for ranking registration anyway. Besides, I didn't think we'd actually hit first place myself. Do Hyun felt a sudden sense of relief. Whatever, it's just a name on a list. The spotlight? Attracting that kind of attention just sounds exhausting. Immediately after, a greedy grin spread across his face. Do Hyun thought, the only thing I care about is the loot. The system then displayed info for a greatsword. Do Hyun stared for a moment and wondered. This set was known as the Warrior set. He analyzed it in his head. The quality ranges from rare to rare plus. These are the best items a player at this level could possibly own. His pupils contracted as a delighted grin appeared. A depraved thought flashed through his mind. And I just scored such high-end items, so how could I possibly stay mad? He laughed as he thought, but he seemed to forget there were people around, making him look like a total maniac laughing to himself. Top Shield asked worriedly, are you really okay? Once again, Do Hyun's mind was briefly overtaken by his inner demons. He snapped out of it and opened his eyes, looking like he didn't quite realize what had been happening. Then he waved it off with a casual laugh. Yeah, I'm fine, so don't go feeling too guilty about it. Yubingong gave a sharp salute as if following orders and thanked him. Thanks, big brother. From now on, I'm absolutely loyal to you. Mian cheered. Kaiser is the best. Only Top Shield was still lost in thought. He's truly on a completely different level. The system popped up a notice. The dungeon session will end shortly. Suddenly, a powerful blue light appeared, creating a 3D spatial portal. Top Shield turned and said, Hey, Yubingong. Yubingong replied, What's up? Top Shield confessed. Honestly, when I read those posts praising Kaiser online, I thought they were just exaggerated. He admitted, but now I get it. Top Shield watched Do Hyun's back and said with conviction, This is the true power of Kaiser. Do Hyun turned back and asked, Aren't you coming? Top Shield fumbled. Yes, I'm coming right now. Top Shield quickly stepped inside. Then everyone entered the spatial portal together. The magical energy teleported them elsewhere. They arrived in a back alley of the city. They stepped into an item shop. Yubingong exclaimed, It looks totally different from the outside, doesn't it? Mian's jaw dropped in curiosity. It's like magic. How can the scenery be this different? Do Hyun looked around and was suddenly drawn to something. At the checkout counter stood a man wrapped tightly in a cowl. He growled a question. Who do you people think you are? He's the alchemist Arda. Yubingong said warily. He looks pretty scary. Mian felt the same. He looks like a total creep. Top Shield gestured for them to stay quiet. Don't judge people just by their appearance. The man said, I hope you didn't come here to tell me you're giving up. Arda added, There are many people waiting to be saved, but I still need more blood for my research. Do Hyun slammed a potion bottle containing a red liquid onto the table. Seeing it, the man jumped and said, Is this the blood of the mutant Goblin warrior? You people actually found it? Only about 40 minutes have passed since then. Do Hyun replied calmly. You're exactly right. Arda looked on in admiration. Incredible. To take down that mutant monster so quickly. The system kept flashing stats. The effect of the maximum affinity from the start title has been activated. Affinity has increased significantly. Closeness with Arda has skyrocketed. You have completed the quest. Blood of the Mutant Goblin Warrior. Images of the rewarded items appeared. The rewards included 1 gold coin, a massive amount of experience, and a silver ring crafted by Arda himself. You have leveled up. You have leveled up again. Every team member ranked up one after another. Their systems notified them nonstop. You have passed the first trial. The ranking results for the first trial will not be saved. You can now move to the main continent. You have received a low-grade skill draw card as a reward. You received an additional random skill draw card for reaching level 10. Yubingong let out a joyful shout. Finally, the main continent. Here I come. Mian screamed even louder. This is amazing. A series of visual system messages arrived. You have earned rewards for completing special conditions. You have obtained a postcard with Calda's pencil signature. Calda's signed postcard. Rank, Rare Plus. Description, a postcard featuring Calda's authentic handwriting. Du Hyun looked at the reward and thought, a special gift? All right, I'll check that out later. He clicked a system menu. Now, this is the most important part. The moment I've been waiting for since leaving Pantheon. A row of hidden cards appeared on the screen, then were released through bursts of light. Each card hovered in the air. Du Hyun looked at them and thought, compared to Pantheon, this place seems a little less majestic. Suddenly, he activated another skill. Shaped like golden eyes, it made his own eyes glow with a metallic gold light. System notice, Truth Eye's skill has been activated. He thought to himself, since this is just a low-grade skill draw, golden cards are just flying around, so there's nothing too special to notice. The system reported, you have learned the skill, Charge Slash. Charge Slash, common grade. Limit, swordsman class only. Description, you can dash in a designated direction while performing a sword swing. Effect, deals damage equal to 150% of attack power. Dash distance is proportional to movement speed. The higher the attack speed, the faster the skill triggers. Cooldown, 10 seconds. Du Hyun evaluated it. This Charge Slash skill isn't half bad. Du Hyun looked up more info, smiling as he remembered using it often back in Demrock. However, the real prize he was aiming for is something else. Other cards were drawn from the system. Du Hyun figured it was the card that allowed a random skill draw from common to legendary rank. The system asked, would you like to use the random skill draw card now? Before he could react, the system announced, your login time has expired. You will be logged out in 5 seconds. Du Hyun gasped, what? The game system explained, login time restriction. This was a system set up to prevent players from suffering exhaustion or game addiction due to being too immersed in this hyper-realistic virtual world. He realized he'd lost track of real-world time. 10 hours had passed already? Only 3 seconds left on the countdown. The card glowed. The system counted to 2. He was so tense that sweat soaked through his shirt. The cards glowed brighter and brighter. The system reached the final second. Du Hyun grabbed the system panel in a panic. He slowly faded from the area as the system announced, login duration has ended. Proceeding with mandatory disconnection. Inside the hibernation chamber, Du Hyun woke up from a long sleep but couldn't move to get out. After a moment, he suddenly let out a pathetic scream. Time passed until the next morning. Du Hyun was so anxious that he was practically vibrating in his chair. The clock struck 10. He bit his lip and thought, I made it. Then he headed back to the hibernation chamber and lay down inside. The system immediately began its analysis, proceeding with retinal scan, authenticating ID card information, ID card verification complete, data synchronization complete, establishing connection to God of Savior. Du Hyun's mind was transported to another dimension. Welcome back to the paradise of adventure. Wishing you an exciting and memorable journey. A back alley in Arda, the scenery of an ancient town. Du Hyun stood there, pacing restlessly on a street corner. His tension spiked as he stared at the system screen. I need to check this out right away. At that moment, I definitely saw a flash of golden light, and the text indicated a new skill I hadn't seen yet. Opening the skill inventory, I found nothing but those cards from earlier. Du Hyun let out a sigh of relief. So that's how it is. He had been overthinking it, worried those glowing cards meant trouble. He'd hoped for a legendary grade skill, but it wasn't quite what he expected. Then again, his luck with loot had been pretty solid lately. At the same time, Du Hyun received a new move, Backstab, hero grade. Requirement, assassin class only. Description, approach an opponent from behind to cause confusion and deal massive damage. Effect, teleport behind a target within a certain range. Upon activation, the enemy is marked for a duration, and the skill can be re-triggered once before the mark vanishes. When used again, the player closes in on the target once more to deliver a critical blow based on the damage accumulated on the mark. Cooldown, 50 seconds. He was a bit taken aback by this move. The backstab skill. This old town was always crawling with assassins. This was the signature move that made the class famous. It was the exact reason long-range players were always so wary when facing an assassin. They can strike at any moment. Even if you try to maintain a safe distance, this is still an overpowered skill that can close the gap in the blink of an eye. And yet, Du Hyun now possessed such a dangerous move. Once it clicked, he smirked. But wait, why did this drop for me? If I could just collect a few more things like this. His smile grew more twisted as dark thoughts began to swirl in his head. Whether it's against players or hunting monsters, I'm definitely going to become the perfect damage dealer, capable of crushing everything. Just then, two soldiers, a man and a woman, walked by, chatting with each other. I've studied all the guides thoroughly, so just leave everything to me. Really? Well, that's a given. The guy suddenly froze when he spotted Du Hyun. Du Hyun was so lost in his delusions that his head looked ready to explode, and he was swaying unsteadily on his feet. A faint mist escaped Du Hyun's mouth, and his eyes were bloodshot, making him look like a demon straight out of hell. Du Hyun's bizarre appearance terrified the two of them. The guy whispered, "That dude looks like he's totally lost it." The girl agreed, "We should probably take the long way around just to be safe." Then, they hauled tail like they were being chased by a pack of dogs. Du Hyun finally snapped back to reality, standing there wondering why on earth they were running away. He looked at the system screen, feeling a surge of joy. Anyway, I've got the new skill. Now, should I try on those equipment pieces I just got? His inventory was packed with various armors. Red leather tunic of the mutated Goblin Warrior, spalders of the mutated Goblin Warrior, greatsword of the mutated Goblin Warrior, silver ring refined by Arda. With all this gear, I won't look like a weakling who's easy to push around anymore. Du Hyun didn't hesitate to equip them immediately. He was itching for a fight. All right then, time to head to the main continent. The system complied with his wish. You will be teleported to Raven, the first city of the main continent. Once you set foot on the main continent, you will not be able to return for a short while. A blue energy portal opened as the countdown began. 5. Du Hyun turned back to look at the town one last time. He had only just arrived yesterday, and didn't even get a chance to say goodbye to anyone. His companions for this stage, Top Shield, Yubingong, and Mian. He felt a silent surge of gratitude toward them. I've actually started to grow a bit attached to them. I feel a little bit of regret. The clock didn't wait and kept counting down to 2. Du Hyun brushed the feeling aside. Whatever, if it's meant to be, I'm sure we'll run into each other again. He stepped inside. Simultaneously, the system announced, commencing transfer to the main continent. Du Hyun was teleported through the main gate of a massive plaza. All the players who had completed their training at Arda carried great expectations as they took their first steps onto the main continent. Everyone was chatting away happily. He noticed it was different from Arda, which was divided into separate servers by country. This was a place where players from all over converged to form parties. Looking at the landscape ahead and the challenges awaiting him, Du Hyun was ready to step onto the starting line of his journey. This was Raven, the starter city. Suddenly, a soldier's voice barked out, "Everyone, out of the way!" The Knights of Raven had returned after successfully completing their mission, and they were escorting a tied-up prisoner. "Let me go right now." The soldier snapped, "Stay put, you shameless bastard." The system then displayed a quest for Du Hyun. Upon entering the main continent, locked systems will be opened. Beginner perks will officially disappear. In their place, you can experience various features such as the arena, duels, and workshops. Raven is the symbolic city for the beginning of a new journey. We hope you enjoy the adventure on this new stage unfolding in the main continent. Pro tip: if you become a victim of a crime within Raven City, don't hesitate to report it to the guards immediately. After reading through, Du Hyun was slightly surprised. They weren't kidding when they said the real game only starts once you reach the main continent. Suddenly, a stout man approached him out of nowhere with an offer. "Hey brother, come taste some beer. It's a famous Raven specialty. That red outfit really suits you, by the way." Even a seafood shop owner and a professional-looking chef came over to invite him. "Stop by our shop when you have time. I'll make sure to throw in plenty of freebies." For a man, nothing beats a hot bowl of capybara soup. Du Hyun sighed and thought, now I understand why so many people forget about hunting just to spend their time sightseeing in this city. He unconsciously replied, "This is pretty great," but he had a main quest to finish. Du Hyun slapped his face to snap himself out of it. "I need to focus. I can enjoy all this stuff later." Du Hyun drew his sword, thinking to himself, well then, maybe I should go for a test hunt first. This place was crawling with nothing but goblins, and he made quick work of them all. By now, Du Hyun had reached the Raven Plains. He was currently battling the goblins, blocking his path. The system was busy calculating points and activating the warrior set attributes. Receive the Intimidate effect when facing goblin-type monsters. Deals an additional 7% damage against goblins. Increases all stats by 2 points. Du Hyun's strength was growing steadily. He felt a surge of confidence. There's no gear more effective than this set for dealing with goblins. The system even helped him analyze. The goblins were suffering from the Intimidate effect thanks to the warrior set's attributes. The red goblin is feeling extreme terror. The green goblin's fighting spirit has completely collapsed. Du Hyun stepped out and unleashed his charge/skill. Without much effort, he sliced the entire group of goblins to pieces in an instant. The system tallied the points again, dealt additional bonus damage due to the warrior set effect. You have defeated the red goblin. You have successfully eliminated the green goblin. After a while, Du Hyun's feet had barely touched the ground for more than 10 seconds total. His speed was so overwhelming that they didn't even have time to land a single hit before a whole pile of them collapsed. The system added points to his item. The greatsword's attack power increases after finishing off an enemy. Du Hyun laughed with delight. This feeling is exhilarating. This warrior set is truly top tier. He thought to himself, this set already had very high base stats, and it adds a full 7% bonus damage. It's a weapon that gets stronger the more I hunt. The constant streak of luck had him feeling like he was flying. This is awesome. This feeling of hunting and dominating low-level monsters is amazing. Du Hyun looked at the board and smiled. I'm clearing these quests smoothly. Just a little more effort, and I'll level up in no time. Suddenly, his hunting instincts flared as he noticed something was off. What was that? He glanced over and saw a cloaked, invisible figure rushing toward him, dagger in hand. Du Hyun found it strange. Is that a human? The figure lunged, intending to stab Du Hyun. He thought, isn't that the warrior's set? There's no prey tastier than a wealthy-looking newbie. For a split second, the dagger in his hand hesitated. Meanwhile, Du Hyun just stood still. The attacker lunged forward like a lightning bolt. Thanks for the hearty meal. But he didn't expect Du Hyun to simply tilt his sword to block the strike. His invisibility cloak failed. Murderous intent rose within Du Hyun. He glared at the man and said, what the hell is this? Seeing that Du Hyun had the upper hand, the assassin jumped back to create some distance. Turns out, he had backup. What are you guys doing? You bastards, hurry up and finish him off. From above, an archer fired, but with lightning speed, he sliced 2 arrows out of the air. Another guy with an axe charged in like a madman. Du Hyun blocked it with his sword and swatted it aside. The accomplices and the assassin froze at the sight. Damn it. The assassin bit his lip, wanted to flee, thinking, this makes no sense, how can newbie do this? But unfortunately for him, Du Hyun had already activated skill. A mark had been placed on the target. Just as he turned around, Du Hyun was already standing there waiting for him. Du Hyun merely rested his sword on his shoulder, but his aura was overwhelming, like a god rising from hell. He chuckled and gave a warm greeting. Are you lost, buddy? To Du Hyun, no matter where you go, there are always people who refuse to listen, and the gaming world was no exception. The scene before him wasn't a formal duel in the arena, but an illegal slaughter. In other words, they were known as pikers, player killers. They had appeared back in Demrock, and were now wreaking havoc in God of Savior as well. Some did it for fun, some for loot, and some just to vent their anger. Whatever the reason, when asked who the most hated people were, 9 out of 10 would say it's those who hunt newbies. The sight of veteran players surrounding a newcomer, Du Hyun realized they usually targeted players who had just left the starter village to kill them and steal everything they own. Just like the guy blocking his path right now. At that moment, his eyes flashed with cruelty as he smiled and asked cordially, are you lost, buddy? The guy's system notified him. The mark on the target has disappeared. Assassin Boy looked up in terror, completely confused. A backstab skill? The guy's eyes were filled with dread. How the hell can a swordsman pull off a backstab move? In an instant, the man was eliminated from a game. Du Hyun's system reported, you have finished off the player named Assassin. You have eliminated the player named Triathan. Du Hyun continued to wipe them out one by one. Notifications kept ringing out. You have defeated the player named Can Fit Me. These players have been flagged as villains by the system. Your actions have been determined, as justifiable self-defense. Karma points will not increase. After checking, he thought, this part works exactly like it did in Demrock. Do Hyun's eyes were eerily calm. Perhaps all those newbie perks were just an exception. Do Hyun remembered his old teammates, and how unusually kind everyone there had been. He compared them to the thugs he had just laid out. The reality here was that it was always crawling with jerks like this. Holding the items in his hand, Do Hyun didn't give it much more thought. Anyway, let's put that aside. I need to go collect my quest rewards first. The system chimed. You have completed the Goblin Extermination quest. Your rewards are 70 silver and experience points. You have completed the Hunter's Request quest. You received an additional 80 silver, experience points, and a beast trapping necklace. Your level has increased. You have reached level 17. The passage leading to the west gate is now open. The gate finally swung open. He smiled with a triumphant look on his face. Finally, I've made it to the west gate. Do Hyun scanned his surroundings, confirming that this was indeed the forest region to the west of Raven. As he gathered information from others, he learned that this was a hunting ground so dangerous that even NPCs were wary of it and warned others to stay away. He felt that this place was the polar opposite of the sprawling plains found at the east gate. This area was a dense forest with limited visibility that felt almost suffocating. It wasn't just crawling with goblins, it was also teeming with giant insects. Sudden ambushes from goblins were constant. He saw images of other warriors fending off goblins and massive monstrous bees, while insects lunged from blind spots between rocky crevices and tree trunks. Do Hyun understood this place well before arriving. For that reason, the difficulty of the West Forest was considered absolute hell, filled with mysteries that were gradually becoming the norm. Naturally, an unwritten rule had been established here. You had to form a party of at least 3 members. Because of this, the area in front of the West Gate was always packed with people. Right now, in front of Raven City's West Gate, a multitude of players were gathered to form parties, creating a bustling scene. They called out to one another, LFM, join our party. Got 1 tank and 2 DPS waiting. Others were looking for 1 more melee damage dealer. I really need help to get through this area. Another group was at a standstill, giving the leader a massive headache. Our group is just missing 1 healer. Their numbers are truly spread too thin. A blonde standing nearby crossed their arms, looking rather annoyed. Healer players are such a rare breed. Nobody enjoys playing that class, and it's a total grind just to level up. A large, black-haired man suddenly pointed toward the gate. Hey, check that guy out. Do Hyun's back was so prominent among the crowd that he caught their attention even from a distance. He mocked him, another fool. Just stepped right in. There's always a few types like him. A guy with light brown hair also judged him with disdain. Unbelievable. Even top-ranked players only dare to enter the West Forest in a party. They huddled together, talking trash. Who does he think he is, daring to go in solo? Do Hyun heard everything, but only gave them a smirk. By now, deep within the desolate and dense forest, a crimson hue covered the entire sky. A single, decisive slash into a goblin shattered the silence. The system announced, you have defeated a forest red goblin. Do Hyun charged forward with his greatsword in hand. Everywhere he swung, goblins dropped dead. One jumped down from above, but unfortunately for it, he managed to stab his sword into the ground and flip behind its back. Then, he sent it flying with a single kick. The goblin tumbled several times, nearly landing headfirst. It struggled just to pull itself back up, but as luck would have it, before it could do a thing, he slashed it right out of existence. Suddenly, he sensed something flying toward him from behind. Do Hyun spun around and swung his sword, cutting the arrow clean in half. The goblin archer up in the tree flinched, startled by his sharp reflexes. Before it could hide, he lunged at it with his greatsword. The massive blade flew through the air, severing the upper half of its body. Looking back, only its lower half remained in a charging stance. The greatsword fell to the ground with the force of the throw. Forest red goblins continued to swarm out of nowhere. Seeing him without a weapon in hand, the system issued a critical alert. The effects from the warrior equipment set have been disabled. They recklessly charged him like a mob. Do Hyun handled it calmly. Against trash mobs like this, I don't even need the full set. I've still got an axe in hand. The system reported, weapon restrictions have been lifted thanks to the Weapon Master title. Basic weapon skills have been unlocked due to the Adventurer trait. Skill unlocked. Now executing backstab. He lunged forward at a speed faster than light. In an instant, he was standing directly behind the goblin. He delivered a clean slash, ending its life. The system reported, "You have just used the basic axe skill called Pulverize." The others continued to swarm in. He didn't budge, standing his ground firmly. With just one hand, Du Hyun swung the axe and wiped them all out. Every single goblin was cut down by his hand in a single stroke. Du Hyun laughed with delight. Using an axe actually feels pretty great. The system chimed. "You have defeated another forest red goblin." Kill notifications streamed from the system. "You have eliminated another red goblin." The image showed the red goblins slumped on the ground in a pitiful state. The system reported the stats. "Your axe proficiency has increased to level 2. He walked over and picked up his greatsword. Du Hyun checked his stats, items, and rewards. He smiled to himself. So the goblin hunting quest is complete. Now, on to finding the pendant. Before he could finish his sentence, Du Hyun sensed danger and spun around. A giant monstrous centipede had suddenly appeared. It growled and spat out splatters of slime. Du Hyun's face momentarily went pale. This was bad. The surrounding scene turned incredibly chaotic. Birds scattered in every direction. The forest centipede was now charging frantically. It aimed straight for Du Hyun. Seeing this, he let out a roar. Without a second's hesitation, Du Hyun drew his sword with lightning speed. His eyes flashed with a red tint as he glared at the forest centipede. Right then, its eyes also glowed red as it roared back. Du Hyun didn't hesitate, swinging his sword down hard onto the forest centipede's body. Immediately, a strange liquid sprayed from its mouth. The forest centipede slammed into the ground, creating a thunderous noise. Du Hyun remained on high alert, staring intently at it. Suddenly, the centipede snapped back up, its fiery eyes locked onto him. Du Hyun was slightly taken back by this. Before he could react, the centipede lunged to attack. Luckily, his reflexes kicked in, and he raised his greatsword to block. Du Hyun's face was dead serious as he stared down. Suddenly, Du Hyun summoned another weapon and muttered in annoyance. "You're ugly and filthy. Why do you keep trying to shove that face of yours into mine?" With those words, he struck the centipede square in the face. It roared in agony. Taking this opening, he aimed straight for it and delivered a lethal blow. After that strike, it showed no signs of life and slumped to the ground. Immediately, the system flashed a series of notifications. "You have defeated a giant forest centipede. Your swordsmanship proficiency has increased to level 10. You have leveled up." Du Hyun let out a sharp breath. He leaned heavily on his sword, stabbing it into the ground. The system board kept popping up. Plia, Kaiza, level 19. HP, 170/350. Class, The Last Adventurer. Titles, 3. Max affinity from the start. First Slayer. Throne of the Speed Race. Strength, 35+38. Agility, 35+37. Stamina, 5+37. Perception, 22+36. Mana, 5/34. So I've gone up another 2 levels. Du Hyun looked pensively at the notification board in front of him. Although it was a grueling process, this leveling speed could be considered pretty decent. Most of the quests had been cleared. He rested his hand on his chin and thought, now all that's left is... The system then sent a new notification. Lost pendant. Normal plus grade. Description. This is a request from Camila, a young girl whose precious necklace was taken by an anonymous cat. Please help her find it in the area outside the West Gate. Lost pendant. 0/1. Completion reward. 1 gold, a certain amount of experience, and a small gift from Camila. Failure penalty. Camila's affinity level may decrease. Remaining time, 1 hour 24 minutes. Du Hyun was stunned to receive this quest. It was the only one with a normal plus grade. Accepting the quest, Du Hyun said flatly, "Actually, this quest doesn't seem all that difficult. Its location is already clearly marked on the map, so my job is simply to go there and pick it up." With that, he departed. The next day, the sound of gossip and announcements rang out. "All right, everyone please line up properly. Everyone is in a hurry, so no cutting in line." Suddenly, a man shouted aggressively, "Hey, don't push people like that." The person across from him retorted, "I didn't push you, what are you talking about?" Du Hyun looked around suspiciously. "Is that tree over there where the necklace will respawn?" Fortunately, the line wasn't as long as I expected. If it had been any busier, I probably would have had to wait a long time for my turn. Suddenly, Du Hyun heard a voice drifting from a distance. "Hey, have you heard the news about the killer targeting low-level hunters?" He immediately glanced at 2 men standing not far from him. Are you talking about that new boy bastard? I know him. He was acting out, so it's only natural he's paying the price now. After hearing the black-haired man, the blonde replied, I heard he keeps babbling about someone named Kaiser, right? Hearing this, Du Hyun frowned and thought to himself, why is my name being dragged into this? Meanwhile, those two still didn't notice Du Hyun's presence and continue to gossip. Is that guy even real? He's probably just some obsessed fanboy. I mean, he keeps raving about a swordsman who can use an assassin's backstab skill. Something that sounds so absurd. Who would even believe it? No idiot would buy into such a ridiculous fairy tale. Standing behind them and overhearing this, he thought with a bit of worry, maybe I should just stay quiet and lay low for a while. Du Hyun's gaze darkened as he thought pensively. A swordsman who can master assassin skills and possesses 6 different traits? There's no way the major guilds would ever leave someone like that alone. He immediately thought of the worst-case scenarios. Some groups might try to recruit me, and there will definitely be even more people looking to nip me in the bud, especially if those top guilds have a lot of veteran members from Demrock. If they can't have me, they'll find every way to destroy me, because that's exactly how they operate. After a period of rest, Du Hyun found the necklace. The system quickly prompted, you have successfully collected the lost pendant. Please deliver this necklace directly to Camilla. Du Hyun gripped the necklace tightly in his hand. It's still too early to reveal myself. The scene shifts to Raven, where a clear, bright voice suddenly rings out. Oh, this is wonderful. This is exactly the necklace I lost. I truly can't thank you enough. If it weren't for your help, I probably would have never found it again. Camilla's eyes sparkled with gratitude as she looked up at the man standing before her. At that moment, the system announced, you have successfully completed the quest, the lost pendant. Your rewards are 1 gold coin and a set amount of experience points, along with a small gift from Camilla. You have leveled up. You have reached level 20 and received a random skill draw card. Suddenly, Camilla held out a box toward Du Hyun. She spoke softly, even though this is my most precious treasure, you've been so kind that I want you to have it. The system immediately analyzed Camilla's small gift. Camilla has a hobby of collecting strange objects. This is a random box containing the most valuable item in her collection. No one knows for sure what actually lies inside. Great, common plus. Seeing this, Du Hyun leaned over and gently patted the girl's head. All right, thank you. Next time, be more careful and try not to lose it again. Hearing his words, Camilla obediently replied, Yes, thank you so much, sir. The joy was written all over her face. Suddenly, the system began sending a barrage of notifications. The effect of the title Maximized Affinity from the start has been activated. Your current affinity levels are rising rapidly. Camilla's affinity toward you has skyrocketed. After delivering the necklace to Camilla, Du Hyun turned to leave. Goodbye, sir. He turned back slightly and smiled at the girl. Since she's so young, I guess it's easier for her affinity points to rise this quickly. As he walked down the road, he thought to himself, now I need to get started on the next quest. The system immediately delivered the quest to him. Conquer the dungeon grade. Rare. Description. Rina, who is always wary of the Western Forest, fears that the monsters will grow stronger if the dungeon is left abandoned for too long. Clear the dungeon outside the West Gate. 0/1. Completion reward. 10 gold coins, a large amount of experience, and a low-grade skill draw card. Failure penalty. May cause Rina to feel disappointed in you. Time limit. 48 hours. Du Hyun thought, since the reward includes a skill card, I absolutely cannot pass up a deal this good. Du Hyun recalled the scene. When it came to the dungeons at the West Gate, 2 locations stood out the most, the Goblin Leader's lair and the Ant Tunnel. His eyes darkened slightly. Judging by the warrior gear I'm wearing, going to the Goblin Dungeon would give me more of an advantage. Unfortunately, both of these places were mandatory party dungeons. If I can avoid it, I'd rather not show off my special abilities too early. Meanwhile, at the Goblin Leader's lair, people were shouting out to one another. Looking for a mage. Fire mages preferred. Level 20 and up only. Buying all kinds of items. Highest prices on the market. Weapon repairs on the spot. Does anyone need their gear fixed? Du Hyun arrived and scanned his surroundings. Even the production class players had all gathered here. Just then, a man walked up and spoke to a soldier. I'm a rogue. After hearing that, the soldier rejected him. Our group isn't taking rogues. Please, know your place. Another soldier heard him and argued back. Isn't it enough that we share the same goal of taking down the Goblin Leader? But the first soldier insisted, "No, it's better if you just don't show your face around here." At that moment, a group of people nearby began pleading, "Mage, please join our team. We're all level 20 with full gear. Please come with us. Join us, miss." Watching the scene, Du Hyun evaluated the situation. It looks like they're all just lurking around, hunting for mages. It makes sense, though. In God of Savior, a class's value is dictated by the boss's traits. In this dungeon, at least, mages are the true kings and gods. The real problem was that swordsmen were considered trash here, so no one spared them a second glance. Thinking of this, his face grew gloomy. Suddenly, a voice called out, "Hey, brother in the warrior's set," a friendly-looking man asked. "If you haven't found a party you like yet, would you like to run with us?" Du Hyun looked at him blankly. "You realize I'm just a swordsman, right?" Bastard World, a paladin, along with a mage, smiled at Du Hyun. "Of course we know. Our speed is already high, but we're doing this run for a quest, so your class doesn't really matter that much." He thought carefully. Something about this isn't right. Should I play along for a bit and see what happens? After a moment, Du Hyun scratched his head and looked at them. "If you're okay with me tagging along, I'd appreciate it." Bastard World immediately replied, "Then I'll send you a party invite right now." A notification popped up instantly. A party with the player Bastard World has been established. Party, Bast World, level 24. Amazing Holy Knight, level 24. Great, level 24. Kaiser, level 20. Du Hyun frowned and thought, "These guys, they've definitely realized who I really am." Flashing back to before Bastard Word met Du Hyun, he had looked at him questioningly. "It's definitely him, right?" The paladin replied. "Kaiser, the one wearing that specific armor set and carrying a greatsword." The mage quickly added, "It's definitely him. There's no way there's a second person around here who looks like that, right?" Hearing this, Bastard's Word gave a scheming smile. "True. That kind of gear is rarely seen." After Du Hyun accepted their invitation, the whole group headed into the cave. The system gave an introduction. The Goblin Leader's Abode. Grade Rare. Type: Normal Dungeon. Description: Once a brave warrior and a legend of the Blue Goblin tribe. However, due to a curse, he left the tribe and took up residence here. Limit: For people. Level limit: Level 24 or below. Du Hyun's group pushed deeper inside. Everywhere they went, goblin corpses lay scattered about. At the same time, a notification rang out. A red goblin scout has been defeated. The scout's death has been reported to the leader. After clearing a wave, Bastard's Word said smugly, "Easy. This is simple." The paladin standing beside him chimed in, "Yeah, it's like taking candy from a baby." Standing in the back, Du Hyun observed them silently. Not bad. Their power is pretty stable, and their teamwork is solid. Suddenly, the system announced, "The leader is frightened and has begun deploying soldiers. Everyone, prepare for battle." As the words faded, glowing red eyes from deep within the cave fixed onto the group. Bastard's Word spoke to him confidently. "Can you handle this round?" The paladin also smiled at him. "If it gets dangerous, we'll jump in and save you immediately." The mage added, "Just think of this as a chance to practice coordination. Give a shot. If anything happens, we'll help you right away." Du Hyun's cold gaze swept over the three of them. "So, they want to test my skills, huh? Fine. I'll play along for a little bit." With that thought, he slowly stepped forward and drew his sword. In the blink of an eye, Du Hyun charged straight in. A system notification appeared. Skill Charge Slash has been used. Within moments, the goblins were falling one after another. Seeing this, Bastard's Word smirked. "It's definitely him." The paladin followed up, "We found the right guy." Suddenly, Bastard's Word asked the paladin, "What do you think?" He replied, "Not bad at all." The paladin evaluated his every move. He's great at dodging critical hits. Even with that greatsword, his speed is still pretty fast. Bastard's Word observed thoughtfully from a distance. With gear like that, he doesn't have to fear anyone in this area. Suddenly, the paladin spoke up, "But I feel like something is off." Bastard's Word looked at him, confused. "Off how?" He offered his analysis. "You're telling me an assassin was taken down by a guy like him who just relies on gear, high damage, and high speed? I'll give him that, but assassins are one of the best PvP classes. They have stealth and paralysis poison, yet they still lost a 3v1 match." The mage standing behind them cut in, "Why overthink it? Our job is just to deal with him anyway." Bastard's Word patted the paladin on the shoulder. "Exactly. Let's finish this quickly and cleanly." Once this job is done, our debt is settled. He gave a scheming laugh. Okay, so shall we start the operation? Bastard's word gave instructions. Remember to keep your faces straight. Just act natural. The paladin replied confidently. Don't worry about that. Meanwhile, Du Hyun was still seriously taking down the goblins. Seeing an opening, the paladin pretended to rush over. Kaiser, you're amazing. Bastard's word followed suit. We only invited you to be safe, but I get the feeling you could carry this whole place by yourself. Du Hyun played along. It's nothing. Everyone here is skilled. Bastard's word and the paladin continued their act. How did you guys manage to recruit someone so talented? That's all thanks to my eye for talent. Standing to the side, Du Hyun judged them silently. Leaving a teammate to fight alone like that, and they still have the nerve to put on such a shameless, disgusting act. He stared at Bastard's word. Depending on the situation, they might abandon me, and if I die, they'll definitely strip me of all my gear. Suddenly, Bastard's word smiled and exclaimed, All right, that's enough rest. Shall we keep going? Let's move out. Du Hyun replied flatly. Sounds good. The paladin chimed in. Great. Bastard's word thought sinisterly to himself. I'll quietly send you on your way the moment I get the chance. Du Hyun looked at him with equal determination. That won't be so easy. Before long, the group pushed further in. They split up to eliminate the goblins. Du Hyun decimated the surrounding goblins with an overwhelming aura. Suddenly, a conflict broke out between Bastard Word and the mage. They whispered to each other, Hey, aim properly. No, I clearly aimed right. But that goblin suddenly. Were the three of them trying to get rid of Du Hyun? Or was he just lucky? Du Hyun continued to play his part. I intentionally left my back open, but they couldn't do a thing. Maybe I should wait a little longer. Just then, the system sent out a notification. The boss room has opened. The door in front of them slowly creaked open. The goblin leader has detected the intruders. A surge of energy radiated in front of the group. The elite Red Goblin army is attempting to block the enemy's path. Elite Red Goblin Soldier. Title: Elite Monster. Type: Goblin. Traits: Tenacious. Description: Among the Red Goblin soldiers, these are the most highly trained elite units. Elite goblins with hideous teeth appeared. They lunged forward, charging straight at the group. Bastard's word shouted in panic. Kai, please deal with these elites for a moment, and then we'll. Before he could finish his sentence, the elite goblins had closed in. Bastard's word couldn't see Du Hyun and screamed, Kaiser. Bastard Sword's face twisted in frustration. What the hell? Where did that bastard disappear to? The paladin also cried out in shock. Hey, did he figure it out? Suddenly, the mage pointed forward. Look ahead. Bastard's word looked up startled. The elite goblins had already attacked. Bastard's word had no choice but to rush forward to block them. Seeing this, the paladin also jumped in to help. He shouted loudly, I'll hold it down. Everyone, finish it off quickly. The mage quickly replied, Got it. But before she could react, a massive object came crashing down toward her. The mage's eyes widened at the sight before her. A giant foot appeared from the doorway where the goblin leader was emerging. Goblin leader. Title: Rare Dungeon Boss. Type: Goblin. Traits: Cowardly, self-defensive, selfish, vengeful. Goblin leader. Title: Rare Dungeon Boss. Type: Goblin. Traits: Cowardly, self-defensive, selfish, vengeful. The paladin struggled with all his might and gasped out, We'll draw its attention first. So in the meantime, you... Suddenly, the mage stammered in shock. That bastard. How is this possible? Du Hyun slowly approached them from behind. Bastard Sword's group immediately fixed their eyes on him. The assassin, Du Hyun, let out a sinister smile. You guys are friends, right? Panicking, the mage spoke up. Wait a second. It's true we're enemies, but let's at least get through this dungeon together first. We have to cooperate to clear the stage, anyway. Du Hyun's expression remained unchanged as he said flatly, That actually makes some sense. Her face turned pale as she looked at him. Right? Exactly. Let's just focus on beating the dungeon first. Du Hyun didn't say a word. With glowing red eyes, he lunged forward and drove his blade straight through her body. He looked at Bastard Sword's group with a face full of contempt. The thing is, I don't feel like it. The system immediately fired off a series of notifications. You have defeated player Ultimate Mage. This player was identified as a villain. Therefore, your karma points will not increase. Du Hyun shouldered his sword and smirked, thinking to himself, I knew it. These guys are all just low-life thugs. Then he quickly blinked out of the encirclement. Good thing I used back grab to hide beforehand. Hiding behind a rock, Do-hyun observed them silently. I had a feeling, but I didn't expect this move to be so effective even on a corpse. Bastard's word roared. You lunatic! You killed the mage? Do you want all of us to die at the hands of the boss? He curled his lip into a mocking smile. Do you guys know what my motto is? Looking confused, the man turned his head. What? Do-hyun raised his hand and summoned a flurry of blades. I never shake hands with trash who lurk around waiting to stab me in the back. He added with a cruel smile. Collaborating with people like you only leads to a rotten end. Bastard's word turned pale with shock. That's the assassin kid's blade technique. How do you have that? Do-hyun brandished the blades and shot back. It belongs to your friend, so I guess you recognized it instantly, huh? One look and you knew. He couldn't believe it and blurted out. This is impossible. How can a swordsman use that weapon? Refusing to let it go, he snarled a threat. What do you plan to do with it? Bastard's word gritted his teeth as he blocked a goblin soldier's sword, growling. If you kill us, do you really think you can finish this quest on your own? Thinking of the goblin leader, his voice dropped. Do you even know what the great chief's defense skill actually blocks? It counters all physical attacks. At that point, Bastard's word sneered mockingly. That's why mages are king in this dungeon. What can someone like you do with a crippled dagger? His only response was a flat voice, status effects. Hearing this, the man paused, filled with doubt. What? Do-hyun lifted his blades and laughed tauntingly. Do you guys think status effects are just for show? Bastard's word was stunned by that smile. Are you insane? You plan to finish off the goblin with just the pathetic bleed damage on your weapon. His eyes flashed with brilliance. If it were just normal blood, that would be true. It wouldn't be enough. Seeing that look, the man instinctively blurted out, what? The moment the words left his mouth, the spot where Do-hyun had been standing was occupied by only a faint afterimage. In the blink of an eye, he had streaked past Bastard's word and his companion. Even so, the man cursed angrily. What the hell is this tiny bit of damage supposed to do? But before he could finish, a notification window suddenly popped up. Stat discrepancy is too massive. Activating Assassin's Dagger effect. Target is suffering from the bleeding status effect. Damage has skyrocketed due to overwhelming stat difference. HP has dropped below 50%. Bastard word, coughing up blood, froze when he heard that. Overwhelming stats? My level is higher. So how does this make any sense? He looked toward Do-hyun in despair, wondering, even if he's wearing stolen gear. I'm level 24 and he's only 20. How massive does the stat gap have to be for a bleeding effect to be this terrifyingly strong? Sensing that gaze, he thought privately. You wouldn't understand. I got this bleeding skill from a level 20 gacha ticket. At the same time, an information window appeared. Bleeding, grade, rare. Requirement, forest affinity. Effect. When the next attack lands after using the skill, it inflicts bleeding for 10 seconds. If there is a large stat difference with the target, the effect may be reduced, and duration and damage will be adjusted accordingly. Cooldown, 15 seconds. Do-hyun thought with a bit of doubt. I'm actually surprised it stacks. He became lost in his own thoughts. It's just like in Demrock or Goes. Status effects usually don't stack if they're used by the same class. Suddenly, Do-hyun looked up with a self-satisfied smile. But who would have guessed there'd be someone like me using a scammer skill on an assassin's weapon? No one could have known. Just then, Bastard's word screamed. What kind of bleeding is this? It's a hack. He clutched his wound weakly and demanded. You're a hacker, aren't you? As soon as he spoke, Bastard's word collapsed. This was followed by a notification. You have defeated player, Bastard word. This player was identified as a villain. Therefore, your karma points will not increase. You have slain an elite red goblin. He let out a long sigh and thought dejectedly. Honestly, these guys always say the exact same thing. While he was thinking, the paladin's roar suddenly rang out. He gritted his teeth, cursing under his breath with burning resentment. Damn it! Looking at the two cold corpses of his comrades, the paladin wondered frantically. Why did things turn out like this? Where did I go wrong? As if realizing something, he suddenly froze in terror. No, from the very beginning, we should have never gotten involved in this. Just as the paladin was making his move, a sharp blade flashed across. I have to run. Right now. In an instant, Do-hyun had already streaked past his body. The paladin spat out a pool of blood as the system screen appeared, suffering from the bleeding status effect. Damage has skyrocketed due to a massive stat discrepancy. HP has dropped below 10%. At that, he asked in total shock what? A second later, the paladin collapsed along with a system announcement. You have defeated player Stone Paladin. This player was identified as a villain. Therefore, your karma points will not increase. You have slain an elite red goblin. Du Hyun simply noted coldly. That damage is actually pretty decent. I did dump 15 points into strength after all. I hope it was worth it. From another corner, the goblin leader was watching him. Seeing the corpses of its own kind, it let out a series of low growls. Then, the goblin leader let out a thunderous roar, followed by a notification. The goblin leader is going berserk because its subordinates were killed. The roar immediately drew Du Hyun's attention. Watching it charge at him frantically, he told himself tiredly. Almost forgot that guy was still standing there. A spark of interest suddenly flashed in Du Hyun's eyes. Well then, shall we have a little fun? In an instant, the goblin leader's massive frame closed in on him. Without hesitation, Du Hyun twisted his body to dodge. He launched himself into the air and delivered a kick to the monster. The goblin leader let out a cry as it was struck. Seeing its body fall, Du Hyun broke into a small, triumphant smile. Just as Du Hyun touched the ground, the goblin leader crashed down, but his gaze suddenly froze in surprise. Hidden within the hazy mist were a pair of glowing yellow eyes. As it sprang back up, a bright red screen appeared. The Goblin Great Chief's defense skill has been activated. Du Hyun didn't pause for a second, swinging his sword as he charged. He streaked across, leaving behind a cold, sharp trail of sword energy that tore through the massive body. The system continuously displayed the status, suffering from the bleeding status effect. HP has dropped below 40%. HP has dropped below 30%. It suddenly whipped around, its eyes full of terror mixed with rage as they locked onto Du Hyun. He gave a wicked smile and clicked his tongue, reminding it, let's just end this here. Sensing an overwhelming murderous intent, the goblin leader shrieked in horror. Without hesitation, it turned its head and fled in a panic. Du Hyun frowned slightly and activated his skill, using back grab. While the goblin leader was frantically trying to escape, he caught up to it in a flash. Du Hyun curled his lip and laughed with utter disdain. Where do you think you're going? That face immediately made the monster shriek in terror. All that remained on the cliffside was a bright red smear of blood. With a loud thud, the system screen appeared once more. You have defeated the dungeon boss. Goblin King, congratulations on clearing the dungeon. The achievement has been recorded in your adventure log. You have leveled up. A series of information appeared. Dagger Mastery has reached level 5. Goblin King's ultra-durable belt, grade, rare. Requirement, level 20. Restriction, none. The Goblin King's leather belt was made to be incredibly sturdy to support his pot belly. He held the belt high in his hand with excitement. This is some high-quality stuff. I was actually missing a belt. Talk about the right person at the right time. Du Hyun didn't hesitate to operate the screen. Goblin King's ultra-durable belt. Unequipping will reduce stamina by 1 point. Strength increases by 1 point. Stamina increases by 2 points. Seeing the results, he smiled with great interest, thinking, not bad at all. Considering the time, I might have even made it onto the rankings. But then again, not every dungeon has a time limit, and it's not like every place requires a speedrun. Then, Du Hyun suddenly turned his head back, feeling a tiny bit of regret. But looking at that glittering shield, he evaluated it thoughtfully. I still have all the loot dropped by those players too. The system notification window lit up before his eyes. Collected items dropped by players. Silver shield. A shield made from silver iron. An extremely rare ore. Grade rare. Requirement, level 20. Restriction, shield-wielding warrior classes. Special effect. The more divine power it absorbs, the higher the damage reduction. Du Hyun remarked with interest. A rare item too? These guys must have spent a decent amount of money to get this. The notification in front of him suddenly changed its content. Bastard Sword's Training Sword. An iron sword used by the hero Bastard's Word to practice his sword speed. Grade, Rare Plus. Requirement, level 20. Restriction, Swordsman class. Special effect. Has a chance to trigger a slight speed boost when attacking. Seeing this, his eyes darted over with curiosity. Bastard Sword's Training Sword, huh? Remembering that face, Du Hyun let out a mocking laugh. Quite the obsessed fan of that BWID, isn't he? Well, that name doesn't mean a thing anymore. Nevertheless, he pushed the thought aside and began calculating. Time to sell these items for some quick cash. The system popped up again, catching Du Hyun's eye. Skill God's eye has been activated. Seeing a brilliant red glow in the distance, he asked suspiciously, "What is that over there?" Driven by curiosity, Du Hyun ventured deeper. A stealth skill? If so, this glow is far too intense. Or maybe it's a rare, medicinal herb. Immediately after, the system updated. You have discovered a hidden dungeon. The Dark Goblin Mage's hideout. A deep, yawning portal stretched out before his eyes. You are the first person to discover this hidden dungeon. You have earned the title, Master Explorer. Stunned, Du Hyun repeated the words. Hidden dungeon. Countless pieces of information flooded his mind. There were many types of dungeons in this game, from party dungeons and solo bosses to labyrinths, special dungeons, and even event dungeons. But among them, the rarest and least known were the hidden dungeons. Du Hyun felt drawn into the deep portal before him. Even Explorer-class specialists had a hard time finding these. Not only were they located in completely illogical places, but they also required incredibly bizarre entry conditions. The light flickered as a series of notifications updated instantly. Confirmed. Only one survivor in the dungeon. Confirmed. Currently not in a party. Conditions met. He clicked his tongue in annoyance, cursing under his breath. This is insane. Look at how strict those conditions are. Du Hyun couldn't help but mutter. In a dungeon originally meant for a party, it forces the player to find a hidden path while alone and forbids entering with a group. Though he was smiling, he couldn't help but think to himself, with conditions like these, even if you find it, it's basically a waste. The light pulsed as the system displayed the info. The Dark Goblin Mage's hideout. Hero grade. Type. Special hidden dungeon. 3. Solo boss. Description. One day, rumors of a dark-skinned goblin and raven gave rise to countless legends. Maximum capacity. 1 person. Entry condition. First discoverer. The dungeon will disappear upon completion and cannot be re-entered if failed. Du Hyun gave an arrogant smirk. Hero grade. Huh? I'm definitely clearing this place. A quote from the rank 1279G free suddenly came to mind. Stepping into a hidden dungeon is like sticking your head into a predator's mouth. The comments section immediately buzzed. What the hell is he talking about? No idea. Does he mean it's that difficult? Is entering this basically suicide? Then why is everyone so obsessed with finding hidden dungeons? Are they all tired of living? It was just a metaphor, but anyone who had ever tasted a hidden dungeon would nod in agreement with Freed's words. What happens when you stick your head into a predator's mouth? It crushes you instantly. A hidden dungeon is exactly that, the predator's mouth. It just waits with its jaws wide open for the prey to lead themselves right in. It all ends with the cold, predatory gaze of the beast. On the other side, Du Hyun stepped through the portal. You have entered the dungeon. He was greeted by a murky gray sphere hurtling toward him. As the sphere lunged, the system popped up. You have been hit by a curse orb. You are afflicted with blindness. Amidst the heavy atmosphere, the system suddenly announced, blindness will narrow your vision for a period of time. Then came a series of notifications. Heroic nature helps you resist mental collapse. Blindness effect completely removed. Despite the attack, Du Hyun wore a confident smile. That's quite the aggressive greet. A gloomy voice suddenly echoed. How dare you enter my home without permission? You're a human who truly knows no fear. Before him stood a horde of goblin undead. A second later, a notification jumped out. Dark Goblin Mage's undead goblins. This was followed by a swarm of giant spiders. Dark Goblin Mage's undead spiders. Du Hyun's eyebrows immediately furrowed. That looks disgusting. The voice seemed to sense his reaction and let out a laugh. It seems you're terrified just looking at my children. As the face came into focus, an information panel appeared. Jihad Black. Title. Named Boss. Hero grade. Type. Goblin. Nature. Special bloodline. Hexer. Necromancer. Nimble fingers. Description. A survivor of a fallen tribe, inheriting an elite bloodline. Jihad is a goblin who has lived for hundreds of years. Seeing this, he wondered in a daze. A named boss? Even if the difficulty of hidden dungeons is high, having a named boss right here is something else. Recalling the vicious dragon from before, Du Hyun silently calculated. The rewards were great when I fought the demon dragon horde. I wonder what'll drop this time. Just then, the deep voice spoke again. But it's strange How did a human find this place? Jihad laughed cruelly, offering a remark. I don't smell an explorer on you. You carry too many conflicting auras. You are a truly bizarre creature. Hearing that, he realized something. What? This goblin has a sharp nose. Without hesitation, the boss released a wave of pressure. No matter how strange you are, once you've stepped foot in here, there is no escape. As if triggered, the entire horde of undead lunged at Du Hyun. Far from being afraid, he opened his mouth to taunt. You're not even a little nervous, are you? Let me teach you a lesson. Surrounded by the undead, Du Hyun immediately activated a skill. When in close combat, a long-range fighter should always be extremely vigilant. A split second later, he appeared directly behind Jihad, leaving him horrified. Jihad threw his hands up without hesitation. Following that was the system's announcement. Activated skill, Undead Control. Speed greatly increased due to Nimble Fingers trait. Along with the notification, a violent explosion erupted. Activated skill, Corpse Explosion. The rolling shockwave forced him to brace himself to stay standing. As if he had just seen something impossible, Jihad's expression shifted. He whipped around to face his rear. Before he knew it, Du Hyun was standing at a distance, looking ominous. In his hand was a blood-stained dagger. A smug smile tugged at the corner of his lips. The system immediately displayed a cold notification. You are afflicted with bleeding. Jihad stammered in horror. Since when? Seeing that face, Du Hyun questioned him playfully. Surprised? I told you, you should focus more. That smile immediately drove the boss into a rage. You little rat. Jihad waved his hands to summon countless undead. Let's see how long you can hold out. Du Hyun was quick as a flash, jumping to the side and dodging an instant. The boss didn't stop, continuously waving his hands to summon rising undead. Meanwhile, Du Hyun flexibly evaded every single attack. During the chaos, he had already seen through Jihad's plan. I see it. Where he's aiming and where he plans to strike. Looking at that frantic face, Du Hyun pondered. Even the plan he's calculated. After just a moment, he was backed into a corner. The boss's smile grew even more crazed. It ends here. Accompanied by a chime, a massive explosion burst forth. Hidden dungeon boss Jihad Black is using his ultimate skill, Great Corpse Explosion. Jihad muttered with a mad laugh. Since you're a rare specimen, I plan to go a bit easy on you, but you're seeking your own death. To the low hum of the system, Du Hyun suddenly appeared right behind him. The afterimage had vanished. His gloomy voice echoed in the boss's ear. Did your skill miss? Before the words were even finished, Du Hyun's fist slammed straight into Jihad's face. He was sent flying into the cliffside. A pathetic scream rang out. Jihad coughed up blood, his body trembling in pain. While he was clutching his chest in agony, Du Hyun stepped toward him again. His face, shadowed in the darkness, radiated a murderous intent. Despite this, Jihad remained stubborn. You bastard, I will definitely have my revenge. As soon as he finished speaking, Du Hyun gifted him a punch to the stomach. He didn't stop there, his hands continuing to blur. A barrage of punches landed relentlessly on Jihad's face. In just moments, dozens of blows had been dealt. Just as Du Hyun was preparing for the next strike, the boss suddenly cried out, Wait! Jihad clutched his bruised face and screamed. Hey, are you hitting my bones? Hitting the bones is playing dirty. Hearing that, he raised an eyebrow in disbelief. What kind of boss is this? Meanwhile, Jihad's whimpering continued. My bones hurt so much. Du Hyun was somewhat speechless, wondering, this thing is actually hero grade? Recalling the earlier attack, he couldn't help but evaluate. The corpse explosion skill is strong, but other than that, he's far too weak. Seeing Du Hyun move suddenly, Jihad flinched violently. Without hesitation, he immediately jumped backward. Watching this series of actions, he felt a bit suspicious. The boss let out a gloomy laugh and hurled an insult. Stupid human, I was just waiting for you to let your guard down. Amidst the dark fog, a notification screen appeared. Secret dungeon boss Jihad Black is activating bloodline trait. The information above his head suddenly changed. As Jihad awakened his bloodline, his stats began to skyrocket. Du Hyun started, wondering, stats are increasing? As if realizing something, his expression darkened. He looks pathetic, but going from hero to hero plus is a completely different story. Du Hyun quickly drew his blade, thinking to himself, because properly coordinated raids only start from hero plus grade. I can't leave him be. He didn't hesitate, pushing off his feet and lunging forward. Following that, a series of notification screens jumped out. Strength plus 20. Strength stat has exceeded the 100 mark. Do Hyun looked at the stats before him and felt a silent pang of regret. I think I went a bit overboard, dumping everything into strength. But with a chime, the system information changed again. Warrior equipment set applied, dealing plus 7% additional damage to goblin-type enemies. Without a second thought, he swung his sword. The spot where he stood just moments ago was now nothing but a swirling cloud of dust. Notifications immediately flooded in, a wall of text appearing before his eyes. Due to the berserk effect, the boss will take an additional 10% damage. Thanks to sword mastery, damage has increased by an additional 10%. Jihad's jaw dropped as he stammered out, This is just completely illogical." A flash of murderous intent flickered in Do Hyun's eyes. In the face of devastating damage, all things are equal. With a single slash, he completely took him down. Following Jihad's pathetic death scream, the blue screen appeared again. "You have defeated the secret dungeon boss, Jihad Black." On the other side, a flurry of text immediately jumped out. "Congratulations on clearing the secret dungeon. Your achievement has been recorded in the adventure book." Symbols and numbers flashed continuously. "Since you were the first to clear this dungeon, your rewards will be doubled. Your level has increased. You have received the dungeon clearance rewards. You have received the dungeon clearance rewards." Item info displayed. Grudge Soulstone of the Goblin Mage. A versatile gem infused with a restless soul. Grade: Hero. Requirement: Level 30. Class: Mage. Cloak of the Dark Goblin Mage. A black cloak belonging to the Goblin Mage. Enchanted with an identity scrambling spell to make staying anonymous easy. Grade: Hero. Requirement: Level 30. Class: Unrestricted. Special option: when the hood is pulled up, Identity Scramble mode is activated. Do Hyun breathed a sigh of relief and remarked, "That's hero grade for you. The rewards are seriously high-end. I didn't expect both a gem and support gear to drop." Despite that, a hint of dissatisfaction lingered in his voice. "The attribute lines are a bit tricky to use, but I guess it's better than nothing." Right then, the screen changed again. Trace of the Forgotten Tribe, grade. Do Hyun paused, filled with doubt. A trace of a tribe? He lightly stroked his chin, lost in thought. The grade is just a question mark. Even in Demrock, unidentified items looked exactly like this. Unable to figure out, Do Hyun eventually gave up. "Whatever, I'll find out eventually." As soon as he spoke, his eyes caught a screen below. The system clearly displayed a strange card. Do Hyun asked himself suspiciously, "A card?" He began to sink deep into thought. Go seems to have invested heavily in its card system. They aren't just for merging skills or enhancing gear. Even the bosses in the adventure book are recorded in card form. Do Hyun grinned and calculated to himself. If it's a monster card, it's probably just used for gear synthesis, right? On the screen was the status. Jihad Black card, grade, hero. Description: a card sealing the soul of the Goblin Mage. Upon use, he will be summoned as a guardian and the card will disappear. He was a bit surprised when he read those words. A guardian? A guardian was simply a protector for the master, much like a fire mage's salamander or an alchemist golem. Do Hyun scratched his head curiously. A guardian? Huh? Sounds cool enough. Not bad, but remembering Borm's two fierce beasts, he muttered, "Unless it's a divine beast like that purple-haired guy's long, or a box." As he spoke, Do Hyun made his choice. Standard guardians are usually just a money pit that doesn't do much of anything. The status line immediately displayed, Summoning Guardian. In an instant, a mini Jihad was summoned. Jihad Black. Title: Named Guardian. Grade: Hero. Species: Goblin. Level: 1. Loyalty: over 100. Traits: Bloodline, Necromancer's Curse, Quick Hands. Personality: bullies the weak, fears the strong, opportunistic. Skill: Undead. Description: survivor of a fallen tribe. Carries noble blood. Jihad is a goblin who has lived for hundreds of years. Due to his low level, most of his power is sealed. Seeing the figure before him, the creature screamed in horror. "Why is it you?" A look of pure disgust immediately washed over Do Hyun's face. This thing is my guardian?" Do Hyun began to daydream. It was supposed to be cool and powerful like other guardians. Whatever, forget about that. Jihad collapsed to his knees in despair. "I can't believe I have to be a servant to a filthy human." Seeing this, he felt a bit repulsed. A goblin who does nothing but self-pity. The more I look at him, the more contempt I feel. Bullies the weak, fears the strong, and he's an opportunist? What kind of crazy traits are these? Just as the thought crossed his mind, the system popped up. The loyalty of Guardian Jihad Black is currently very low. Due to Jihad Black's nature, if loyalty is too low, he may betray you. Please be careful. After reading that, his eyes widened and he cursed silently. This is insane. Looking at that cowardly display, Do Hyun clicked his tongue in contempt. With an attitude like this, I can't just let him be. With that thought, he stepped forward under the creature's terrified gaze. Seeing Do Hyun staring him down, Jihad questioned him. What is it? You human. Hearing that, he narrowed his eyes in dissatisfaction. You dare call your master you human? Angry, Do Hyun leaned in close to his face and growled, repeating his words. The overwhelming pressure caused Jihad's face to shrivel in terror. He gave a dark laugh, cracking his knuckles threateningly. Your mindset is completely broken. For every second that passes, I'm going to give you a beating. Before he could fully understand, the creature looked visibly confused. Do Hyun didn't bother explaining and gave a cruel smile. It's time for your beating. His large shadow loomed over Jihad, who fell back onto the ground in fear. Only the sounds of sharp impacts and his pathetic wails echoed through the cave. Along with that, a series of system notifications flashed continuously. You have attacked your guardian. Loyalty, 2 out of 100. Loyalty, 3/100. Loyalty, 4/100. Loyalty, 5/100. Loyalty, 6/100. The sky shifted into shades of a pink sunset. The door to the gaming capsule opened. Do Hyun stretched his arms, looked outside, and noted, it's already starting to get dark. Once finished, he stepped out of the room and asked, Mom, is there anything left to eat at home? But his sister's voice was the only reply. Don't bother asking. There isn't. Do Hyun turned to look at his world-weary sister lounging on the sofa. His face showed total helplessness, and he sighed inwardly. She's really something else. Then Do Hyun sat down with a question. So where's Mom? She replied briefly. Mom has an appointment. He asked further, what are you watching? She continued, the game Goes. Hearing that, Do Hyun was slightly surprised. Goes? You play Goes too? She replied with an indifferent air. Who doesn't play it these days? This remark made Do Hyun exclaim in surprise. Seriously? She said again, yeah, I've already reached level 71. This news surprised him even more. Whoa. This was followed by a question from Do Hyun. Reaching 71. You must have grinded pretty hard, huh? She continued eating snacks while lazily explaining. Took about 6 months. A friend asked me to play and said they'd carry me, so I joined. I have to admit, this game is actually pretty interesting. Hearing his sister, Do Hyun did the math in his head. 6 months? It took that long just to hit level 70. Then she immediately sniped back at him. That's because I don't spend 10 hours a day rotisserie NG in the game like some people. This time, Do Hyun was truly speechless and didn't respond. Just then, a news report came on the TV. Next was a segment on the Hero Guild. His attention immediately shifted there. I know this guild. Do Hyun's sister explained to him. That's the hottest group among young people right now. In terms of popularity, they aren't even a step behind manhwa. Hearing that, he was even more curious. But why? They aren't even in the top 10, are they? To his surprise, the answer was incredibly simple. Because they're handsome, obviously. On the Go's TV screen now was the leader of the Hero Guild, Verse. She rested her chin in her hand and lazily added, even if guys like manhwa, most girls are still crazy for the Hero Guild. Hearing this, Do Hyun immediately began criticizing, that guy looks like a total pampered pretty boy. Unlike him, his cursed sister was totally infatuated. Look at that face. It's the perfect combination of masculine and pretty. His class is leagues above yours, you know? He cursed silently in annoyance. What right does a bird brain like you have to talk? Feeling totally fed up, Do Hyun stood up to leave. Whatever, I'm gonna go exercise. Surprisingly, his sister suddenly remarked. With a face like that, no wonder his YouTube channel is so popular. He stopped in his tracks and asked, YouTube? Even though she tried to act like she didn't care, she still finished answering her brother's question. What guild doesn't do YouTube these days? Some of them even get hundreds of millions of views. Do Hyun's eyes widened, his jaw dropping in shock. Hundreds of millions of views? Then he must be making a mountain of cash, right? His sister was actually startled by his excitement. The numbers were beyond Do Hyun's imagination. 8 billion. Just how much fried chicken could that buy? Then, like a man possessed, he repeatedly muttered, 8 billion. A billion. His sister called back worriedly. Hey, what's wrong with you? But Do-hyun just wandered back to his room in a daze. 8 billion. A billion. Then his bedroom door gently closed. Do-hyun's sister grimaced in confusion. What on earth? He looked so weird. The system announcement rang out as Do-hyun reconnected to the game. ID confirmed. Synchronization process complete. Connecting to the world of God of Savior. Goes. Do-hyun has logged into the game. He prepared to record. I'll record for now, just to be safe. Who knows when this footage might come in hand. Jihad stepped out of the black circle, rubbing his eyes. Jihad stepped out of the black circle, rubbing his eyes. His annoyed attitude made Jihad start explaining frantically, No, master. Do-hyun had to remind him. It's fine, just call me whatever makes you comfortable. Then he tossed him a set of clothes. You put these on, accompanied by an explanation. I can't equip these right now anyway, and don't you need something to cover yourself? Suddenly, the system announced, loyalty decreased by 2. Jihad gave a terrifying smile in response. Since Master has granted me clothes to wear, I, Jihad, shall be a free entity. Seeing him like that, Do-hyun glared angrily. A heavy pressure radiated out. What was that? Realizing the move he just made was a mistake, Jihad fearfully justified himself. Oh no, Master, thank you very much. The system displayed. Loyalty increased by 2. Seeing him like this, Do-hyun looked on with disgust, thinking, is this loyalty stat made of rubber? How is it so elastic? Throwing the cloak over himself, Jihad spoke up. Master, where are we going now? Remembering his task, Do-hyun pulled himself together and looked ahead. We have to run. These words left Jihad dazed. Then, the painful screams of monsters rang out. The scene was filled with defeated monsters. The system notifications rang out continuously. You have defeated a forest red goblin. You have taken down a giant spider. Looking at the corpses of the defeated monsters, Jihad felt a bit of pity for them. I actually feel sorry for them. Then he looked back at Do-hyun, who was in the middle of a monster-killing frenzy. Of all the people to cross, they had to run into this demon. He looked back at Do-hyun again, who was still frantically slaughtering monsters. Of all the people to cross, they had to run into this demon. Do-hyun sat down to rest while waiting for Jihad to run back, then quickly assigned him a task. Take all those items you just picked up, pile them over there, and try to create one. The creature obeyed submissively. Yes, understood. Take all those items you just picked up, pile them over there, and try to create one. The creature obeyed submissively. Yes, understood. He walked toward one of the monster corpses. Then, a wave of dark energy rose as Jihad began to chant. Gram Mogul Shigra. The monster was enveloped by a surge of energy, its soul seemingly drained away. Seeing this, Do-hyun was somewhat impressed. The system announced, Guardian Jihad Black has successfully turned a forest red goblin into an undead. Seeing this, Do-hyun was somewhat impressed. The system announced, Guardian Jihad Black has successfully turned a forest red goblin into an undead. He offered a word of praise. Not bad. In his head, Do-hyun thought, this will definitely come in handy later. Then, Jihad continued to say something to the red goblins. They immediately ran off upon his command. Seeing this, Do-hyun asked, confused, Where are they going? Jihad answered with a proud smile on his face. I've ordered them to go pick up the loot, sir. After hearing this, the look in Do-hyun's eyes became even more disdainful. He's already learned how to boss them around for chores. However, he quickly brushed aside the idle thought and began to calculate. Whatever. I wonder when I'll reach the next level. I wish some elite monsters would show up. That would be great. To his surprise, new information was immediately provided. Elite monsters? If it's those high-end targets you want, I know where they are, master. Startled, Do-hyun asked, What? The creature explained seriously. That lot does nothing all day but huddle together in one spot. At this, Do-hyun's attitude shifted visibly. His smile became filled with excitement. All the elite monsters are gathered in one place? The sky above the forest was a clear, vivid blue. The elite monsters had already gathered in one location. Jihad and Do-hyun were hiding off to the side. What do you think, master? It's them, isn't it? Do-hyun was so excited that he broke into a wide, toothy grin. I can't believe it. Looking at the pack of monsters before him, he couldn't help but wonder, why are there so many of them? Right on cue, a notification appeared. Emergency quest, Trial of the Warriors. Great. Emergency. Rewards, 100 gold, a massive amount of experience, and 1 intermediate skill draw ticket. Time limit, 48 hours. Reading this, Du Hyun smirked and thought, an intermediate skill draw ticket? I have to complete this deal. The elite monsters quickly noticed his presence. Du Hyun didn't waste any time and immediately lunged forward. The corners of his lips curled into a smile. Hey, you guys! A red goblin immediately prepared to retaliate, swinging its sword down powerfully. Du Hyun dodged easily and even managed to counterattack. The red goblin growled threateningly, but in the end, it took a direct hit right to the face. Blood gushed from its nose. The red goblin tumbled backward from the momentum. Du Hyun's dissection began in earnest. He swept through the monsters like a gust of wind while activating backstab. System notifications immediately appeared. Inflicted bleeding status. The moment Du Hyun stopped was the moment the monsters collapsed to the ground. On the opposite side, the figure of a red goblin came charging in. Du Hyun met its attack head-on. Then he reached back and drew his weapon. The red goblin's face flashed with surprise. Du Hyun immediately sent a kick flying, pinning it to the ground. The red goblin spat out blood after taking the full force of the blow. Only then did he grip the hilt of his sword and draw it instantly. The red goblin let out a threatening roar. However, it had no effect on Du Hyun. He delivered a fatal strike. Du Hyun's expression didn't change at all, while the red goblin was left in agonizing pain. Its lifeless body fell from the bushes onto the ground. Jihad observed and thought to himself, terrifying. He couldn't believe his eyes. I saw it back in the Western Forest too, but this guy can't be an ordinary human. A look of horror crossed Jihad's face as he watched Du Hyun. He's a demon, a real devil. The sword in Du Hyun's hand was driven deep into the ground. He looked around and muttered, the warriors are cleared out. I guess it's about time he shows himself. Suddenly, the figure of another monster appeared in the distance. Along with it came a few lines of notification. You have encountered a hidden boss. Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. Du Hyun, however, wore a wicked smile. You've arrived, my bag of loot. Du Hyun, however, wore a wicked smile. You've arrived, my bag of loot. Du Hyun, however, wore a wicked smile. You've arrived, my bag of loot. He picked up the sword in his hand. Du Hyun didn't waste a second, immediately lunging at his opponent. Both sides fought with a do-or-die intensity. Jihad, watching from afar, called out anxiously, stop. That guy's too much for Master, he helpfully warned. Just one collision with him, and your sword will be shattered to pieces. Great Goblin Warrior Karuk used a brutal strike. Du Hyun's eyes didn't flicker with even a hint of hesitation. Karuk raised his axe high and brought it down with massive force. Yet, it failed to inflict any wound on Du Hyun. Even hiding Jihad was left stunned. Du Hyun was now blocking the attack. A delighted smile played across his face. This attitude left the boss bewildered. It roared and struck once more. The hand holding Du Hyun's weapon began to move. He didn't let it attack, instead delivering a direct, preemptive strike. This was followed by a flurry of high-speed attacks. Jihad couldn't believe his eyes and kept wondering, what is happening right in front of me? He watched the scene in shock as a single question arose. Parrying? More about the parrying skill. Parry, a skill that deflects the opponent's attack, can fail if the timing is wrong. Though it is a swordsman's only defensive skill, it is famous for being far beyond ordinary skill grades. If the conditions are met, it is a broken ultimate technique that can nullify even legendary skills. This skill also has a weakness, but because the success rate is extremely low, almost no one dares to use it in actual combat. On this side, Du Hyun thought to himself with relish, successfully used parry. I didn't expect to get this from a low-level gacha pull. A system notification appeared. Karuk continues to unleash brutal attacks, followed by an explosion. Before Karuk could realize what was happening, Du Hyun appeared behind. Only then did Karuk turn its head back. A smile was on Du Hyun's face. Karuk's skill. It let out a cry of pure shock. Jihad was so stunned his eyes turned into circles. In the blink of an eye, Du Hyun had decapitated Karuk. You have defeated the hidden boss, Great Goblin Warrior Karuk. This achievement has been recorded in the adventure log. A few system notifications followed. Congratulations on completing the Great Warrior Challenge. Rewards include 200 gold, a massive amount of experience, 2 intermediate skill draw cards, and Karuk's outfit set. He was so surprised himself that he cheered. Oh my god, he actually died. And I got 2 draw cards. Du Hyun was so excited he began jumping up and down on the spot. Jihad, standing to the side, winced and thought. Here we go again. He began to compare. When fighting, the guy looks exactly like a demon. Yet as soon as it involves those card games, he's like this. Jihad watched the shift in Do Hyun's attitude and had to ask himself, how can he suddenly act like such a dork? On this side, he was operating the system. A series of skills appeared. Information on the skills appeared one by one. Rising Dragon Kick Grade, Rare. Requirement, Martial Artist Class. Effect, deals massive damage with the legs. Cooldown, 21 seconds. Heavy Strike Skill, Rare Grade Requirements, Support. Increases physical attack by 40% for 40 seconds. Cooldown, 40 seconds. A skill for buffing just dropped. Heavy Strike. Speaking of this skill's info, it's a core move for buff specialists. With a 40-second duration and a 40-second cooldown, it's basically a permanent power boost. Besides that, it turns a normal sword into something with the raw power of a greatsword. Reading this, Do Hyun was so excited he clutched his face. This is awesome. Seriously top tier. An assassin who can hunt and fight solo. And now I've even got the Rising Dragon Kick. I wanted to try this move for a long time. It looks so cool. Perfect. Everything is just perfect. It didn't stop there. The system continued to push out other notifications. Unidentified item. Karuk's red leather armor. Crafted from the hide of the great Goblin warrior Karuk. Heroic grade. Karuk's red leather pants. Made from the durable hide of Karuk himself. Heroic grade. Below those were a few other items. Karuk's red and blue leather spalders. Shoulder armor crafted from the hide of great warrior Karuk. Rare plus grade. Karuk's essence ring. A ring containing the concentrated power of Karuk. Heroic grade. Reading this, Do Hyun finally commented, finally, I can take off this trashy goblin outfit. He didn't waste any time and immediately equipped the gear. A system notification appeared along with a flash of light as the equipment changed. You have equipped the full blue and red Great Warrior set. Set effect, splash range plus 10%, melee damage plus 6.5%, all stats plus 8. Do Hyun looked at himself excitedly and remarked, even though the colors are a bit flashy, I still look way sharper like this, right? Jihad, standing nearby, quickly played along. It suits you perfectly, Master. Then he stepped closer, grimacing as he commented, Master, sometimes you actually scare me. Do Hyun took this as a compliment. You think so too? He added proudly. Even I'm a little scared of myself. I wonder just how much further I'm going to go. Jihad was completely speechless at Do Hyun's extreme narcissism. I truly am a real man. He inwardly commented with a sigh. This crazy bastard. Just that single thought triggered a notification. Loyalty points decreased by 1. Do Hyun immediately glared at him and questioned. What just happened? You were just insulting me in your head, weren't you? Jihad tried his best to deny it. Not at all, Master. However, Do Hyun moved into a threatening stance. Try stepping out of line and see if you don't end up dead. Jihad stammered back with a nervous smile. Yes, Master. Loyalty points increased by 1. Only then did Do Hyun let out a reluctant sigh. He sheathed his weapon and started moving. Let's go. Jihad, standing beside him, couldn't suppress his curiosity. Where are we going, sir? Do Hyun gave a simple answer. It's time to hunt a boss. He nodded and casually agreed. Since we already took down a great warrior, killing a few more won't hurt. Little did he know, as soon as the words left his mouth, Jihad felt like something was off. On Do Hyun's side, he was currently reading the notifications appearing before him. To proceed to the next city, you must overcome the Continental Trial. Field Boss, Challenge Level 1. Requirement, reach Level 24. Defeat Spider Queen Eliza, 0/1. Their next stop was the area where Spider Queen Eliza appeared in the Western Forest. Other players had already gathered there. I wonder when it's finally going to show up. Probably in about 10 minutes. Small groups were constantly discussing among themselves. Where's it going to pop up this time? I heard last time it appeared at the Eastern Webs, right? They're all carefully observing the terrain ahead. Then it'll probably be west or north this time. At that moment, Do Hyun and Jihad also arrived at the scene. He looked down at him and questioned, I'm asking for real. Do you actually know the boss's spawn location? Jihad didn't hide anything and explained sincerely, No, sir. This boss is part of the new generation, so even I'm not too sure about it. Master, upon hearing that, Do Hyun let out a weary sigh. And here you were saying you knew everything about this forest. He didn't seem to notice the disappointed attitude. In his mind, Do Hyun was making his own calculations. I wonder where it'll show up. He looked at the terrain in front of him and thought, No matter where it appears, I'll just dash in and use backstab, and it's over. Just then, a few lines of system notifications suddenly appeared. Slayer talent activated. The location of Boss Spider Queen Eliza has been revealed. A red silhouette of the Spider Queen appeared on the ground, making Do Hyun gasp in surprise. What? He couldn't help but feel confused. I don't have a Spider Slayer title, do I? However, he very quickly figured out himself. Wait a minute, could it be that it doesn't just apply to bosses I've already killed, but works on all types of bosses? But Do Hyun didn't waste any more time overthinking it. Whatever, that doesn't matter right now. The corners of his mouth curled into a cold, ruthless smile. What matters is that I can hog this boss all to myself by using backstab. A green light appeared on the ground. From the shadows, the silhouette of a bloated spider emerged, constantly shrieking. Eliza! Eliza! In the blink of an eye, Do Hyun appeared behind its back. You have encountered Spider Queen Eliza. He looked at his opponent with unconcealed excitement. I didn't expect that move to actually work. Jihad was so shocked he had to ask, Master, how did you manage to do that? Do Hyun answered lazily. It's a long story. His focus was now entirely on the opponent in front of him. Let's just consider this a sweet deal. But Do Hyun stared at Eliza and remarked, This big girl is seriously huge. Spider Queen Eliza. Title, Elite Field Boss. Species, Spider. Attributes, Steel Web, Lethal Toxin, Spider Sense. It let out a threatening roar and lunged forward. The screech made him wince in annoyance. It kept screaming as it charged. Eliza! 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 Meanwhile, Do Hyun was backing away. He moved and activated backstab. In an instant, Do Hyun vanished from Eliza's sight. It cried out in shock, Eek! From behind, the silhouette of a dragon suddenly appeared. Do Hyun launched an attack using Rising Dragon Kick. Due to the equipment set effect, damage was increased by 6%. Eliza was hit so hard her eyes bugged out. He was completely focused on the target. After that attack ended, Eliza crashed to the ground. Do Hyun didn't waste another second and immediately rushed into attack. Eliza flinched, letting out a dry cry. However, Do Hyun swept past her with high-speed slashes. His feet skidded across the ground. Then Do Hyun gathered momentum and lunged toward Eliza again. The system issued a notification. You are using the augmentation skill. Attack power has been increased. He accelerated, aiming his attack straight at Eliza. This time, a hint of fear appeared on her face. Eliza, the system issued a notification. You used Rising Dragon Kick again. The silhouette of a golden dragon appeared once more. Eliza took the kick squarely in the head and collapsed just like that. She was in so much pain, she coughed up blood. Her entire body slammed hard into the dirt. Jihad had been hiding this whole time. In his heart, he thought, Good grief, I feel sorry for anyone who has to face that monster. Do Hyun stood still, looking at Eliza lying flat on the ground before him. She turned her shimmering eyes toward him and called out, Eliza. His gaze flickered with murderous intent. I have no idea what this Eliza name is supposed to mean. However, Do Hyun had plenty of patience to force an explanation out of her. Let's see how much longer you can keep your mouth shut. Knowing full well this human wasn't joking, Eliza screamed even louder. Eliza. Jihad watched Eliza take the beating, hardly daring to breathe. Only one thought crossed his mind. Master is truly cruel. Do Hyun wasn't finished yet. Eliza? Eliza. That was when Jihad froze as if remembering something. Eliza. That name sounds really familiar. His jaw dropped as the realization hit him. Then Jihad rushed out to stop him. Master, stop. He ran toward Do Hyun with all his might to intervene. Wait, Master, please stop. This frantic attitude confused him. What's wrong? Jihad ran to Eliza's side, asking worriedly. Eliza, it's me. Open your eyes and look at me. Eliza forced herself to look at him and replied, Yeah. He pulled off his hood and continued. Eliza, it's me. Don't you recognize me? Eliza's eyes were now filled with tears. Eliza. The story goes back 150 years. Back then, Jihad was taller than he is now. While he was traveling, he heard a voice calling, Liza. Jihad looked at Eliza and remarked, There's something strange about this spider, isn't there? Eliza stared at him and called out, Liza. Jihad's attention was fixed on her. Does a species of spider like this really exist? He chuckled and made an offer. Hey, you want to come with me? Eliza shrieked with excitement. Her shimmering eyes stared intently at him. Eligregza. Jihad replied softly. Liza, Is it your name? A mischievous grin spread across his face. But calling you El sounds a bit too basic. How about we go with Eliza instead? Eliza was so thrilled with the name that she started jumping up and down. Liza. Jihad gave a wry smile and patiently explained, not La. It's Eliza. Eliza. However, his words were like water off a duck's back. Ugh. Jihad gave up in resignation. All right, whatever you want. I'll just call you Eliza then. He then reached for his cloak. Eliza, I have to go out on some business alone today. This announcement confused Eliza so much she tilted her head. La. Jihad immediately refused. You can't come. That place is still way too dangerous for you. She could only watch him walk away. Lee, as he reached the door, Jihad didn't forget to call back. Later then, I'm heading out. Eliza had been doing nothing but staring fixedly at him this whole time. Liara. Unfortunately, the story had a sad ending. That master never returned again. Time ticked by. Sunsets faded into nights. The moon rose bright and set again, and the sun began each new day. 1 year passed, then 10, then 100. She waited tirelessly for her master. It wasn't until the small shack had rotted away with time that a major decision was finally made. Eliza decided to head toward the western forest, returning to the place where she and her master first met. Throughout that journey, she constantly repeated the name he had given her so she would never forget it. Until finally, at this very moment, a touching reunion took place. Eliza, Lisa, Liza. Du Hyun stood to the side and asked bluntly, So, basically you abandoned Eliza? His words made Jihad freeze in his tracks. But immediately after, the two of them rushed into an embrace and started sobbing again. Eliza, Liza, Liza. Another question was raised. But why did you have to go into hiding? It wasn't just a few years. It was a full 150 years. This time Jihad explained in a low voice, I can't reveal that. Master, it's beyond my current capabilities. This answer puzzled him. What's that supposed to mean? But he explained once more, I'm sorry, Master. That serious expression left Du Hyun with no choice but to believe him. He let out a sigh and looked around. What should we do next? This is the final quest, so I can't just quit halfway through. Jihad frowned in agreement. That is true, Master. At that moment, Eliza spoke up again. Lisa, Liza. He immediately looked toward her. What is it? Eliza's expression shifted. La. Hearing this, Jihad couldn't help but feel shocked. What? What do you mean by that? He tried desperately to stop her. No, absolutely not. But Eliza insisted anyway. La. Du Hyun cut in confused. Hey, what's going on? Jihad took on a grave expression and explained. She's asking me to finish you off, Master. Her suggestion gave him a bit of start. She continued explaining her plan to Jihad, but he held up a hand to stop her. No way. The spider had reached her limit. She snapped her jaws together hard, causing venom to spray outward. This sudden action made Jihad gasp. Eliza, the system sent a notification. Spider Queen Eliza has entered a lethal poison state. HP has fallen below 10%. Observing her actions, he thought to himself, what is the meaning of this? Seeing her sad face, Jihad wondered. Eliza, what on earth are you doing? Whining sounds came from her mouth, as if she were trying to say something. As she spoke, her eyes welled up with tears. After thinking for a few seconds, Jihad turned to him and made a decision. Master, stab her quickly. This request made him hesitate. What? Jihad's voice was firm. She's urging you to do it, Master. There's no more time. He was a bit skeptical. Is this really okay? Jihad's voice became urgent. For now, just trust her. Hurry up, Master. Hearing that, he didn't hesitate any longer and drew his sword. All right, if that's what she wants. He raised his sword high. Here I come. He delivered a decisive slash, sending sprays of green blood everywhere. The system sent out a string of notifications. You have defeated the field boss, Spider Queen Eliza. The feat has been recorded in the adventure book. Multiple buffs activated. All stats increased by 6 points. Looking at the spider collapsed on the ground, he wondered, did I do that right? Jihad nodded beside him. Yes, you did, Master. Then, something tiny appeared on the spider's head, surprising both of them. In that moment, a small spider appeared before the two of them, chirping, Eliza, Eliza. The system issued a notification. You have found the hidden bug Eliza, the parasite that lived on the Spider Queen. Affinity between Jihad and Eliza has reached the maximum level. Would you like to recruit her as Jihad's subordinate? Looking at the notification board, he thought, So it was a parasitic monster. I ran into a boss like this back in Demrock too. They were special eyes that lived by clinging to other creatures. These things aren't usually easy to kill in one go. They constantly switch hosts to stay alive, making them a huge headache for players to deal with. To think one like that would proactively choose to follow me. The little girl was now extremely happy as Jihad picked her up. The system issued a notification. Eliza has been added to Jihad's list of subordinates. I guess I've suddenly gained another guardian. This isn't so bad, I suppose. Come to think of it, that Jihad guy is actually pretty useful. He's good at looting, listens well, and keeps finding hidden areas like this. He put on an excited face. He really is my lucky star. Seeing him staring fixedly in his direction, Jihad flinched with worry. What the hell is this? What with this chill running down my spine? Then little Eliza jumped from Jihad's hand and quickly hopped onto Do Hyun's shoulder, right before the stunned eyes of both men. She made sounds like Eliza, as if trying to say something. Jihad started translating from his side. She says, "Thank you very much, master." He smiled back. "I see." The little girl then continued. Eliza. Jihad continued translating. "She wants to repay you, master," she says to follow her. He asked back curiously, "Repay me?" Eliza kept gesturing wildly as if trying to communicate. Eliza. Then the three of them continued deeper into the cave. Eliza pointed forward, speaking continuously. Eliza. Jihad translated. She says, "We're almost there, master. Forget about resting." They soon arrived at a cavern filled with spider eggs. The system issued a notification. You have discovered a new secret location, the Spider Queen's nest. Looking at the countless purple eyes staring back at him, he felt a bit of a shiver. A nesting ground? Upon his arrival, the swarm of spiders made strange noises as if communicating with each other. The system issued a notification. Title: Field Boss Ham. He was startled inwardly. Are they all field bosses? Right. The graduation quest requires defeating a field boss. It turns out the term field boss didn't just refer to Eliza alone. Using the initial main objective of capturing Eliza, the system issued a notification. Field boss hunting. Challenge, level 1. Description: reward rank will be based on field boss hunting performance. Defeating the ruler, Spider Queen Eliza, is required to complete. Level requirement, 24. Defeat Spider Queen Eliza 0/1. Rewards vary from rank D to S. Anyway, the only unique field boss here was Eliza. He stared intently at a point in the system. The score would determine the rank of the reward received. The core issue was simply how high a score he could get by finishing off Eliza. He took a look around and made a decision. Well then, what if I just wipe out the whole lot of them? The corners of his mouth curled into an excited smile. Murderous intent radiated from him. He gripped the sword in his hand tightly. Let's see how this turns out. Without a moment's hesitation, he charged straight ahead to face the vicious spider swarm. They didn't just stand there either. They lunged at him, preparing to attack. Immediately after, a massive explosion erupted inside the cavern. He was now on a killing spree, slaughtering everything in his path. He swung his sword wildly, wiping out all the surrounding spiders. Watching from the outside as her friends were finished off, Eliza's eyes welled with tears as if she wanted to say something. Jihad nodded in agreement beside her. Exactly. Master is terrifyingly strong. One spider corpse after another fell to the ground. After wiping them all out, he let out a soft sigh of relief. The system sent a notification. You have completed the first challenge, Field Boss Hunting. Recorded. 1 hidden field boss and 34 regular field bosses defeated. You have successfully passed the first challenge. Scored 1,471 points. Established a new Rank S record. The first person to ever achieve Rank S in the first challenge. You are currently rank number 1 on the leaderboard. Receive the title. First to achieve Rank S. Receive the title Top Graduate. Time Attack Thrown Effect activated. Plus 5 points to all stats. He received countless rewards from the system, making his eyes light up with excitement. Awesome. This feels incredible. Little Eliza hopped onto his shoulder, chirping, Eliza, as if she was trying to tell him something. Little Eliza hopped onto his shoulder, chirping, Eliza, as if she was trying to tell him something. Jihad finally translated. Master, Eliza says she hasn't given you her repayment gift yet. He turned to look at the little girl with a surprised expression as she flailed her arms and legs while squeaking. Jihad continued to translate. The real gift is right over there, Master. He followed Jihad's pointing arm with his gaze. The system issued a notification. Eye of Truth skill activated automatically. He discovered something on the cliffside emitting a mysterious, ethereal purple glow. The system issued a notification. You have found a piece of destiny. He was a bit confused, thinking to himself, a piece of destiny? Outside, after forming a party, the group had arrived in front of a certain cave. The crowd buzzed with chatter. Is this the right spot? Another replied, definitely. I've checked all the other locations mentioned in the books. Nothing. This is the only place left. A blond young man pointed inside the cave and shouted, don't get cold feet, everyone. Just do exactly what we practiced. Once we take down Eliza, let's meet up in Brian. The crowd behind him responded enthusiastically. Let's do this. The crowd behind him responded enthusiastically. Let's do this. She hasn't even shown her face yet. Who the hell poached her? Did some guild get in before us? We were supposed to be the first ones here. A young man looked at the notification board and turned to the group. Everyone, look at this. The live rankings just updated. The latest achievement for the top ranker is defeating the Spider Queen, Eliza. They continued to analyze. Could it be a hack? What's the name? We can get the ID from that nickname. The guy named Min started checking the name. Looks like it's Kai. Back to his perspective, he was now holding a red jade fragment in his hand. After observing it for a moment, he assessed. So using this fragment will trigger the Destiny's Inheritance job advancement quest, right? Jihad chuckled nearby. Congratulations, Master. You're finally ending your streak of being unemployed. You're becoming a real adventurer now. He didn't respond, but remained deep in thought. Seeing this, the second-in-command asked worriedly, why the long face, Master? Eliza, perched on his head, also made noises as if checking on him. He replied gloomily, I just have a really bad feeling about this. This startled Jihad. Oh, come on, Master. Look at the rewards for this quest. The system displayed the reward, the relic of Cassiar. He tried to explain, that relic. With that relic, you'll finally have a top-tier item like everyone else. He pointed at the notification board and shouted back, but don't you see the risk of failure? I'll lose all my quests and even get my profession stripped away. I'd be nothing but a stray NPC. He muttered to himself, if that happens, all my hard work up until now goes down the drain. But then he suddenly realized something. Wait a minute, if I actually become unemployed, what happens to you? At this, Jihad broke into a cold sweat. Wait, what? He shouted back. Are you seriously doubting my loyalty? Please, Master. Just then, the system sent a notification. Loyalty increased by 15. Did you think I was setting you up to fail just so I could ditch you? Eliza, on his head, also made noises as if trying to explain. Right after, a loud cry of pain echoed through the cave, because he had just given the guy a good thrashing. The system issued a notification. Jihad's loyalty +1. Looking at the system screen describing the quest. Pass the trial to prove you are worthy of inheriting the will of Cassiar. He thought to himself, a trial? Well, I managed to take down a steel spider, so this should be fine. All right, let's go all in. Looking at the system screen in front of him. Do you accept the quest? Confirm. He confirmed without a moment's hesitation. Whatever monster the system throws at me, I'll smash it to bits. The system issued a notification. The trial of destiny begins. It all started when I pulled the Cassiar card using a hidden item. At that moment in a cathedral, a bishop's terrified voice rang out. Cassiar? Are you really saying you are the messenger of Cassiar? He bowed his head. Yes, that's me. Just give me your blessing, and I will save this village. But before he could finish his sentence, a bucket of cold water was splashed right in his face. He shouted angrily, What the hell do you think you're doing? The man replied, Shut your mouth. You lowly messenger of Cassiar. How dare you bring your filthy self into this holy place? I'm canceling the request. He shouted back in a rage. Hey, give me back my reward first. Then you can go wherever you want. The man turned and slammed the door shut. There is no reward for someone like you. Get out. Despite his fury, he had to turn and leave. I wonder if this Cassiar guy went around mugging people. This is unbelievable bad luck. He thought to himself. It seems every time these priests hear the name Cassiar, they lose their minds. He later sat in the monastery courtyard, eating bread while studying the system info. I really need to reread this job description carefully. Cassiar, the war god, the god of Ebtartle, the only god that even other gods fear. Reading this, he realized, oh, so the other gods are scared of him. That's why to these priests, he's basically the devil. When I took the quest, I figured a pack of elite mobs would show up at most. I think I was dead wrong. Back to the present, a solid iron weight fell with a thud right behind him. It made him look back in a panic. Holy crap, that scared the life out of me. Then a barrage of swords flew straight toward Jihad and Eliza. He cried out in terror. What the hell is this? Why is weaponry raining from the sky like this? Then he warned, look over there, master. He turned his gaze. Now what? Jihad's voice trembled with fear. Something's going down. The system issued a notification. The war god Cassiar is awakening from his seal. Survive for 5 minutes. Looking at the magic circle in front of him, he muttered, that's... From the magic circle, the body of Cassiar slowly emerged, making him jump. The system flashed a red alert. Cassiar is awakening. The profession quest has officially begun. He narrowed his eyes and began to assess. It's not an elite or a mythical monster. The man himself actually showed up, but survival for 5 minutes? He immediately pulled out his weapon. Well, whatever. I just have to stay alive for 5 minutes, right? If it's just surviving, I think I can handle it. Looking into the cold eyes of Cassiar, standing before him, he was suddenly gripped by fear. What is this? What's with this pressure? I can't even move. His entire body was being bound by spiritual chains, feeling as though iron links were tightening around him. Cassiar began to slowly approach his position. Jihad warned, Master, get ready to fight. Eliza also chirped, Eliza. Seeing him just standing there, Jihad panicked. Master's done for. Why are you so quiet, Master? He didn't understand what was happening either. What the hell is this? Why isn't the hero trait activated? The system issued a notification. Trait disabled. This is not an abnormal status effect. Looking at Cassiar, standing like a beast before him, he was terrified. His mere presence is this overwhelming without even using a skill or a status effect. Realizing things were looking grim, Jihad immediately turned to run. Run for it. Eliza, Master is toast. Eliza also squeaked in fear. Eliza. Seeing the two little runaways made him furious. Are you saying I'm so scared I'm freezing up in front of a bunch of virtual data? He then looked up at the sky and let out a roar of absolute rage. This made both Jihad and Cassiar turn their eyes toward him, because he had just broken free from the control of the chains. A thrill-seeking smile touched the corners of his mouth. Listen, I worked way too hard to get here. You think I'd let myself be scared of him? He said that, but his entire body was shaking like a leaf. Jihad wondered, Master, you say you aren't scared, but why are your legs shaking like that? Being interrupted made him turn back angrily. Shut up, you. I'm trying to have a cool moment here. The little guy replied, fearfully, Oh, I get it, Master. Good luck. Then he turned back to Cassiar and said, Hey, War God Cassiar, those skills you let me use are pretty smooth. But hey, don't you think the failure penalty for this Destiny's Inheritance quest is a bit much? He continued to complain. How can you just strip a person of everything if they lose once? I know complaining about it now is useless, but it's really frustrating. You know that. His emotions shifted at a dizzying pace. Do you have any idea how hard I had to grind to get all this gear? Do you? In the back, Jihad commented again. Eliza, Master has finally lost his mind. He clenched his fists with determination. I just got these great skills and gear. I thought my life as a gamer was finally turning a corner. And yet, once again his words were cut short. Master, instead of fighting, why have you been standing there talking to yourself like a maniac? He raised a hand to shush him. Quiet, minion. There's only 1 minute left. Only then did the little guy realize his plan. Oh, so you were just talking nonsense to buy time, Master? Your sneakiness is truly a shining example for all goblins. Come on, Master. Use that silver tongue of yours to buy a little more time. That's the only way we're getting out of this alive. But then, seeing him suddenly lunge forward made the little guy scream. What the hell are you doing, Master? He looked straight at his opponent, assessing. Now's the time. While he's off guard, I'll circle behind him for a surprise attack. Who knows? Maybe taking down Cassiar comes with a hidden reward. He immediately activated the backstab skill. This move didn't catch Cassiar off guard at all. He merely let out a faint smirk. Then he reached behind him and grabbed his neck as if he were an ant. His eyes filled with terror. This move didn't work. Regardless, Cassiar immediately slammed him into the ground, shattering the earth into pieces. In the back, Jihad screamed in terror, "Moss! Master!" After that one slam, his eyes rolled back and he spat out a few mouthfuls of fresh blood. After that incredibly hard thud came a stillness, leaving only his labored breaths. Jihad and Eliza were frantic, calling out to their master. He was seething inwardly and cursed silently. "Damn it, bad luck always follows me. Could everything end here and leave me empty-handed?" The corner of Cassiar's mouth twitched into a sly smile. Then he raised his other arm high, preparing to bring it down with full force. Facing this attack, he could only grit his teeth and endure in helplessness. Then there was nothing more. Suddenly Cassiar's actions changed. He began to feel his body from top to bottom, inside and out, left to right. This left him momentarily baffled. What the hell is this? The continuous motion made him squirm uncontrollably. Ticklish. I told you it's ticklish. Seeing this left Jihad and Eliza frozen. Then he licked his lips lightly, making him even more terrified. What is that tongue for? What are you planning to do? But realizing the situation, Jihad stepped forward and said, "Master, Cassiar has acknowledged you." He asked in confusion, "What?" He explained that Cassiar licking someone meant he had accepted that person. He still couldn't believe his eyes. Really? The corner of Cassiar's mouth curled up, as if to say something. Jihad began to translate. "He's asking whether you are the one who will inherit his will." He shot up and replied, "Huh? Yes, of course." Seeing Cassiar's strange behavior, Jihad continued translating. "He says the master is a reckless person who rushed in without fear. He was very worried, but it seems the master's will has been well nurtured. He intended to kill if the master wasn't worthy. But this is fine." He remained a bit skeptical. "Can't he speak normally? By the way, Jihad, how do you understand all of this?" The system sent a notification. 5 minutes have passed. You have completed the professional task, Inheriting Destiny. Fate Fragments, 1 out of 10. You have embarked on the path of the air instead of the apostle's path. A quest chain has been activated. Cassiar gave a thumbs up in agreement. After the notification, he felt a bit disappointed. "That's it," Jihad beside him added. "Cassiar will give his relic to the master." He turned, puzzled, and asked, "Huh? Give what?" Then he looked at him as he reached into his trousers, rummaging for something. This action made his eyes twitch. He felt like he was going mad. He moved to stop him. "Wait. What are you doing?" After a moment of rummaging, he pulled out something that emitted a blinding light. He continued shouting, "I'm fine. I'm Fine. This isn't that kind of game." But Cassiar didn't stop and kept pulling the object out. He yelled in extreme embarrassment. "You madman!" He yelled in extreme embarrassment. "You madman!" Jihad and Eliza echoed. "Master, what the hell are you doing?" He explained. "Why is the item being pulled from there?" The system notified. "You have obtained the relic of the war god Cassiar, Heaven's transformation." Receiving Cassiar's relic, he murmured, "It's a god's relic, yet it feels strangely disgusting." Then Cassiar waved his hand, and Jihad began to translate. He says, "Time's up, so hurry and be gone." Before they could react, a magic circle appeared beneath their feet. It immediately sucked them inside, making him scream in terror. "AAA, what the hell is this all of a sudden?" The two fell into endless space. Jihad cried out in fear. "Save me, master." The scene shifted to the exterior of an abandoned mansion. Immediately a magic circle appeared there, teleporting Du Hyun, Jihad, and Eliza outside. After a long distance of travel that left Jihad and Eliza dizzy. "I'm so nauseous, master." The system sent a notification. "You have entered the second city of the main continent, Brian, the Covenant City." He looked around and sighed. "This is Brian? At least I'm lucky it's not some demonic place." Then from afar the sound of footsteps suddenly rang out, startling him to turn around. "Who is that?" An old man with silver hair stepped forward and said, "Though you have arrived earlier than the prophecy, this is certainly destiny." Beside him, Jihad warned, "Be careful, master. The aura of that man is not ordinary." Hearing that, he immediately jumped up and drew his sword, ready to fight. "Is that so?" But contrary to his expectations, the man knelt down and bowed in salute. "I have long awaited you, O inheritor of that one's will. My name is Gamillion Adrian. As a member of the Adrian family who has served the royal line since time immemorial, I have always awaited this moment." The system now sent a notification. You have encountered a hidden NPC, Gamillion Adrian. Reading the notice, Jihad was excited. Told you, he really is someone extraordinary. Beside him, he warned, "Hey, you blabbermouth, do you want to get yourself killed?" The system continued to notify, recorded in the adventure book. Professional quest. A step toward the truth has begun. Listen to him recount the erased history of humanity. Upon completing the quest, the main questline category will be unlocked. Hearing this, he stroked his chin thoughtfully. A main questline? In a year and a half since the beta opened, 1 billion people have joined this game. Especially Barion, the self-proclaimed adventure king, who claimed to have completed nearly every available quest. He searched for over a year, exhausted, and firmly declared there was no main questline. This made him a bit skeptical. And yet it's appearing here, Gamillion continued. If you have come this far, you must have met Lord Cassiar. Therefore I wish to tell you a story that the inheritor is obliged to know. He answered with some curiosity. Yes, please tell me. The man began to recount. 1,456 years before the present. Humanity in the past was entirely different from now. They carried extraordinary potential across all fields, like the blessing of Avtardal. With that great power, they occupied one of the 5 thrones of the world. But at that very moment, just as they were solidifying their status as the owners of that throne, they were invaded by terrifying entities commanding beings from other worlds and acting like delusional rulers, those called the gods. At this, Jihad retorted angrily. Gods? Gods? Were the gods behind all of this? He then admonished. Be quiet so I can concentrate and listen. Seeing them bicker, Gamillion gave a wry chuckle and continued the story. Anyway, let me continue. Because of the Great War, Ragnarok, the entire divine realm was annihilated, and the gods were forced to flee here. They tried to seize Avtardal, and a massive war erupted to defend our homeland. That war destroyed 1/3 of Avtardal. The one who turned the tide in that brutal conflict was a lone human. And that was the war god Cassiar. When he felled 4 gods of mythic rank, everyone thought humanity's victory had arrived. Until from beneath the earth, piercing through and rising up, another race was born from the convergence of the gods, and the race has fallen on the battlefield. A dreadful darkness. It was called the Abyss. Both gods and humans were corrupted by the Abyss and began to turn into monsters. The scene was like an actual hell. The entire world faced the threat of being utterly devoured. As the whole world fell into peril, the gods and humanity, who had been at odds, were forced into a bitter bargain to prevent annihilation. That bargain was a sacrifice of all humanity. Faith was the source of the gods' power, meaning the condition demanded the offering of all humanity as sacrificial vessels to the rulers. The result was that great humanity was stripped of all potential and reduced to weak slaves under the gods' rule. And Lord Cassiar was immediately sealed. And the gods even exploited otherworldly beings like you. As soon as you stepped into our world, they cast you into the abyss to destroy your original bodies, then turned you into puppet apostles to serve the gods. Hearing this, he was somewhat puzzled. Wait, if that's the case, Jihad immediately retorted. Master, be quiet for a moment so I can concentrate and listen. When he suddenly raised his voice, he turned and gave him a loving punch. Stroking his chin, he asked, so everything started from there? Taking that sudden, painful blow, Jihad inwardly fumed. Master is really such a nuisance.